Let's have a look at who's coming up for Newcastle, home to Chelsea here, Saturday lunchtime. Guess what? Live and exclusive on Talksport as part of our Festive 50. And for Fulham, it's at home to Forest on Monday night in the Premier League. And guess what? Live and exclusive on Talksport, part of our Festive 50. 50 games through December right here on Talksport. And actually, Mickey Gray, Newcastle's next few fixtures are really interesting. The defeat at Sunderland has set the tone. Here tonight will be very interesting, and over Christmas and New Year, this could be the deciding factor for Eddie Howe, couldn't it?
Well, as you mentioned, Adrian, I think the concern for Newcastle is when you look at those fixtures and where's the next point going to come from, and what you're going to get from Chelsea. You never know what 11 are actually going to turn up. Well, that's a huge game, 12:30 kickoff. And then they got Man United after that. I think it's an 8 p.m. kickoff as well. So the next two Premier League games, which Eddie Howe would probably say, if you asked him right now, he's not even thinking about. He wants to get this one out of the way, but he will have done. 100% he'd be thinking about that, and maybe that's why he's made those rotations tonight. But I think it's about what's in front of you. This is why I think this is key for them tonight to win this match. Then he can maybe start addressing Chelsea and Manchester United. I think Burnley after that as well. They're huge games coming up for Newcastle.
Okay, if we talk about Marco Silva and his career, and just put aside for a second that he was unhappy with the window and his future's in doubt. He's had a decent Premier League career so far at various clubs. Marco Silva's a respected Premier League manager. If he could just put a trophy on the table, that would absolutely top it off, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it would, Adrian, yeah, but how many managers are out there in the Premier League who would want to say exactly the same thing? What I would say about Marco Silva, if he knew that Fulham weren't going to bring any players in the summer, he wanted to take this club to the next level, and they must have turned around and said, sorry, we're not doing any business in the summer, or we're going to bring 3 or 4 in, but it's not going to take Fulham to the next level. Fulham are just going to be that type of side who's going to either finish mid-table or they're going to be fighting a relegation. If he's got anything about him, he had the chance to walk away and go somewhere else, because he knew the availability of what was going to be around in the Premier League this season. There was going to be changes, and I'm sure his name would have been top of the tree like it was, I think, for Nottingham Forest. Adam might tell me different on that, but if he's got aspirations of being at a side that want to go further European football and win trophies, I don't know, maybe somebody needs to ask him that question.
They definitely wanted him at Forest, but I think the idea of having to pay to release him and to negotiate, given they wanted a quick option, meant that it just didn't become viable for Marinakis. I know he likes him though, and it wouldn't surprise me if he at some point ended up in the Forest hot seat.
Well, Marco Silva doesn't have a trophy, Eddie Howe does. Now, the flags are flying here at St James Park, and these fans have heeded the message from Eddie Howe. Let's get together as one and try and recover from Sunday. The players are out on the pitch on Talksport at the moment. It's coming up to half-time. Man City 1, Brentford 0. Let's crack on with this quarter-final. Newcastle want to hold on to their trophy. Fulham want to win their first one. It's the Carabao Cup. Newcastle-Fulham with former England defender Mickey Gray alongside your commentator Adam Bridge.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a wet and breezy St James's Park, where the holders are desperate to keep the Carabao Cup on Tyneside, and so far their defence is going strong. Sunday's Derby defeat will hurt, but this club is used to pain, only finally numbing their trophy-less agony at Wembley in March. A trip back might just keep the Magpies' mood flying high for just a little longer. Whereas Adrian mentioned, Fulham have never won a trophy in their 146-year history. They're trying to reach the semi-final for the second time in 3 years, and last season in the Premier League they managed to do the double over Newcastle United, including a victory here. This is the third time they've met in the League Cup. It's one victory apiece, and the legend of this Malcolm MacDonald has played a part in both of those fixtures, in the fact he was playing for Newcastle when these sides first met back in 1974, when Newcastle won 3-0, and then he was managing Fulham when Fulham were victorious in the early 1980s. Much to be shared between these two clubs, but no shared love tonight. One of these two will make it into the Carabao Cup semi-finals and move a step closer to appearing at Wembley on March the 22nd, when incidentally Newcastle are supposed to be playing Sunderland in the Premier League. Let's run you through the two teams. Newcastle United tonight. Aaron Ramsdale's in goal. It's Murphy, Chow, Cher and Livramento across the back. Gimanesh, Willock and Miley in midfield, with Ramsey, Wissa and Barnes up top. As for Fulham, it's Lecomte in goal. It's Tete, Anderson, Cuenca and Robinson across the back. Berger and Lukic in central midfield. Wilson, so in form right now. Smith Rowe and Kevin providing the support to Raul Jimenez, who will lead the line. Darren England is the man in charge. He last refereed a Newcastle game when they beat Crystal Palace by 5-0. Here, he was also the man in charge for Fulham when they were knocked out of the FA Cup by 3-0 against Crystal Palace. Mickey Gray's alongside me. He's got in here safely with the help of some fuzzy hair, some comedy glasses and a dodgy moustache.
Yeah, 3 hours before kick-off, Adam, but what a game. Really looking forward to this, albeit there's been changes both sides, but this is a night that Newcastle really have to perform, and the pressure is now mounting on Eddie Howe.
And they're going to be kicking from right to left, defending the Gallowgate end in these opening 45 minutes. Fulham are all in a changed strip of all green this evening, and of course it's the traditional black and white stripes, the black shorts and the black socks for Newcastle United. And it's Fulham who will start away to our left-hand side, with Benjamin Lecomte getting his first touch of the game. He's all in orange, and as ever, you expect nothing less, a terrific atmosphere inside St James's Park. Early attacking opportunity here down the left-hand side for Newcastle United, but Livramento just loses out on possession to Tete, and now Wilson will drive forward. Ball to Raul Jimenez down this right-hand side. His early ball in is blocked out by Fabian Schär in this right-hand corner, right by the corner flag. A little bit of pressure from Schär, and the ball goes out of play, and it's the first corner of the game, and it will belong to Fulham away down our right-hand side.
Well, it's a perfect conditions for a game of football, Adam. You know, slick pitch, two sides that really want to go for it. And I think there's a few interesting positions for Newcastle. It looks like Lewis Miley is the right back for Newcastle, which nobody really spoke about tonight.
Early goal in Scotland, Dundee United 0, Celtic 1. Maeda with the goal for Celtic, looking for that first win for their new boss. Here we go down this right-hand side then. It is the corner. They've scored 7 in the Premier League already this season from corners, have Fulham. Only Arsenal have scored more, and an early opportunity to silence this St James's Park crowd. It's swung towards the back post, it's headed up in the air and behind by Anderson, it's hooked back alive by Smith Rowe, and then towards the edge of the penalty area. Robinson's going to win the first header, under a challenge that time from Willock, scooped up in the air, and it's not the most cultured of play so far. It's a little bit scrappy at times, and now a chance for Jacob Ramsey to get forward down that right-hand side. Decent ball as well into towards the far side, and it's picked up and cleared away by Fulham back over halfway, and it's Newcastle United who have it once more. A bit of scrappy defending from that Fulham corner, but Newcastle have it with Chow just short of halfway, and out to that right hand side where it is picked up by Miley, who is playing in that right back position. As Mickey said, we wondered who it might be. We thought it might be Murphy, but he's a little further forward for Eddie Howe's side, and he really is mixing and matching to come up with solutions tonight, bearing in mind they are missing 4 first choice defenders, or certainly those that would feature in these League Cup games. It's all a bit scrappy in the middle of the park. Plenty of tackles being thrown in tonight, unlike on Sunday by Newcastle United, and it's going to be a throw-in on the far side to Fulham.
Well, straight away I think you can say Eddie Howe's mentioned to his players this game needs to be a lot more physical. 2 or 3 challenges have gone in already. You can hear the cheer from the Newcastle supporters, but it's an end-to-end start to the game, Adam, and both sides really looking to get in behind.
Ahisberger on the far side, picking up from Harry Wilson, immediately closed down by Bruno Guimaraes, and then Barnes on this near side will do some tracking on Joachim Anderson, who clips the ball over halfway, but too much on that, and comfortably through towards Aaron Ramsdale, who's all in blue, away to our right-hand side. 8 League Cup appearances in his career for Ramsdale, as the ball is played out on that far touchline again. Willett gets Murphy, should I say, gets the ball through the middle towards Visser on that first start. It'll be a relief for Eddie Howe to have him available tonight. It was question as to whether he would be fit enough after his 3 substitute appearances so far, and obviously there was some thought he may end up going to AFCON with the Democratic Republic of Congo. I knew I'd get the word out eventually.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to get Johan Visser up to full fitness as quick as you possibly can, why not start him? Even if he plays 60, 65 minutes tonight, instead of bringing him off the bench, give him that opportunity in front of his home supporters now, and you just never know, confidence, momentum, adrenaline, gets you through the game.
Here's Harry Wilson down this right-hand side, advancing towards the edge of the penalty area. On his left foot, Wilson teasing ball towards the back post where Robinson had arrived and was potentially getting himself into a decent opportunity, a bit of a space. It comes down to Sasha Lukic at the edge of the penalty area. Kevin will help it on its way again out to this right-hand side where Tete finds Wilson. Wilson now into the box. Lukic has continued his run, and that will be a goal kick because it's well defended this time on this near side by Fabian Schär, and a chance for Ramsdale to clear his lines away to our right-hand side. We're 4.5 minutes and the rain is teeming down now in Newcastle. It's Newcastle United 0, Fulham 0.
Yeah, bright start from both sides, and moments earlier Harry Wilson just picking that ball up on this right-hand side, and he just get head down, whip that ball into the area because it's a skiddy surface. It's very difficult for defenders to clear the lines, and he put a great ball into the area.
Sasha Lukic again in the middle of the park for Fulham. They are midway inside the Newcastle United half and just keeping the ball quite happily. That's a bit of a stray pass that's going to have to be collected on that far side by Sander Berge, looking to apply some pressure. Now Joachim Andersen is up over halfway. The game being played in the Newcastle half right now as the ball is clipped wide to that left-hand side. Robinson arrives, meets it first time, loops it into the air to the edge of the 6-yard box. Schär is there with a clearance, came down towards Tete, and in the end Livramento will try and get it away, and there's a handball against Harry Wilson at the edge of the penalty area, and it's the man of the moment for Fulham that gets punished. I say man of the moment, 7 goals, 4 assists in his last 8 appearances for club and country.
Yeah, and you can just tell when you see a player come out, he wants the ball, he's commanding the ball, he looks confident when he's in a 1v1 situation. He's got a picture in his head of whether he can get his shot away, play somebody behind, or get his cross into the area, and that's very difficult for Newcastle to defend against.
They're aiming for a 9th major semi-final, Fulham. They have of course lost 2 finals, one being the Europa League in 2010, the other being the FA Cup back in 1975. Defeats on both occasions for them, meaning that trophyless run has continued. Here's Sasha Lukic down that left-hand side to Kevin. Kevin on the charge inside the penalty area. Still going, nice feet from Kevin. Gets towards the byline, and in the end, he wins his side a corner. Really good tackle from Chow, who tracked him all the way that time. But it's the second corner of the game for Fulham, this time on their left-hand side. Yeah,
Harry Wilson just drifted across that left-hand side. What I would say, and I've been impressed with it so far, is the movement of the Fulham forward players, the interchanging of the passes, and they look very, very confident, certainly when they're getting around that 18-yard area of Newcastle.
It's going to be Wilson to deliver again with the left foot swinging in here. Sasha Lukic is lurking at the edge of the penalty area, but there's 6 or 7 green shirts all in there, and again it's going to be another corner on the floor at that point where Kenny Tete and Livramento, but Darren England ignoring that and happy to see this delivery coming once more from Harry Wilson on that far side. Third corner of the game already for Fulham. As we mentioned, they've got a very good record from set pieces so far this season. Wilson again in towards the near post, looking to try and find Raul Jimenez for the flick. In the end, it comes out as far as Robinson, who tees up Wilson again on that far side. Cutting in onto his right foot this time, Wilson. Not very comfortable on it, so ends up going back to Robinson, 10 yards inside the Newcastle half, and he curls the ball into the penalty area. Header won by Anderson, who's still up there. Then Smith Rowe helps it on. Raul Jimenez just manages to get himself into a decent position to hook a shot, but he did it illegally, according to Darren England, and it will be a free kick for Newcastle inside their own penalty area. And at the moment, they're struggling to get outside their own half.
Yeah. They are panicking a little bit defensively. We said before, you know, it's kind of put together back forward, if you like. I know Livramento has played as a left back on many occasions, but Lewis Miley playing in that right back position. It's all new for him, Adam. And when you've played as a midfielder through your career and somebody's asked you to do a different position, it's very hard. You need that communication.
Well, that's poor from Livramento, helped on by Raul Jimenez inside the penalty area, almost coming to Emil Smith Rowe, but Newcastle getting caught, playing out from the back with a really good press here from Marco Silva's Fulham side.
This is the perfect start from the away side, Fulham, because they know that these Newcastle players are hurting from the weekend. They had to get in their faces and make it difficult for them.
That's an excellent pass from Chow down the middle. He finds Ramsey, who's fouled inside the centre circle after misplacing his pass. So Darren England just pulling play back, and it will be a free kick for Newcastle to give them some respite, because in these opening 9 minutes here on Talksport 2, it's been all about Fulham so far. It remains Newcastle United 0, Fulham 0. Remember, Man City are in front over on Talksport right now in that game against Brentford as well. If you've got the Talksport app, you can slip between those, and also the Darts World Championship, which continues at Ali Pali as well. All that sport available for you right now on the Talksport app, so get it downloaded. It will come in handy as Christmas approaches and you're dragged out shopping, that I can promise you. Livramento gives it short to Harvey Barnes, who gets his first touch of the game down this left-hand side. He goes back to Cher once more. Right-footed ball, swung over that far side. Chance to pop a ball across the penalty area for Willock, and finished by Johan Rissa inside the 6-yard area. And his first start for Newcastle United yields his first goal. He could have missed from 4 yards out. Rissa is on target. And Newcastle United have the advantage. This competition, they love it. And they're in front in the quarter-final. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 0.
Well, it's brilliant for Johan Rissa. His first start, we talked about getting your best players out there and wanting to try and impress his manager. He's had a terrible injury since he came to Newcastle St James's Park. Doesn't really know too much about the finish, I have to be brutally honest with you, but he's in the right place at the right time. Lecomte tries to clear his lines from a wonderful ball into the area. I talked about the ball skidding off the area. The keeper has got to do better, but Visser isn't worried about that. That is just a poacher's centre-forwards goal.
And do you know what, that almost feels like that's what Newcastle have been missing, isn't it? Without no Alexander Isak. Visser will provide that, and I mean that's exactly what that is. Lecomte's touch straight to him, and he puts in the back of the net, and that's a 50th goal in English football for Johan Visser, and he gets it on his first start for Newcastle United.
And do you know what, Adam? I think from the summer, Alexander Isak leaving this football club, and even Callum Wilson to a degree as well. Newcastle never had that striker who can run in behind, who've got the pace. They've had to change the way they play with Nick Voltemada. Visser could be a huge hit at this football club. When he gets himself up to 100%, he will get goals for this club.
Certainly plenty of running in him already as he puts the pressure under Anderson, and the tails are up at the Magpies right now. They lead by 1-0, and we've only been playing for 11.5 minutes at St James's Park. Back to Ramsdale from Miley, who then has to clear first time under a little bit of pressure. Cleared out down this left-hand side. Comes as far as Harvey Barnes on halfway, slips a ball looking to set Visser away again, couldn't find him. Robinson does the stopping, and then Berger plays it out down that left-hand side for Smith Rowe, who's on the charge. Opportunity for a good counter here for Fulham as they look to try and get themselves back on level terms with 12 minutes played. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 0. You are listening to Talksport 2. It's Carabao Cup quarter-final night. Tete swings it towards the back post. Kevin arrives and gets a little flick on it, but again his run was tracked all the way that time by Miley, and now maybe a counter on here. Ramsey's on the charge. He's not going to get there first. Anderson will just sweep that ball back. In fact, it wasn't Anderson, there was Cuenca who managed to get there first and gets it back to Benjamin Lecomte. He had 2 clean sheets prior to this in the competition this season, but he's conceded already on the home side with the advantage here. And it certainly perked them up as Raul Jimenez just tries to force a ball back to Sasha Lukic on this near side, and Livramento with the intervention. Couldn't have started any better really for Newcastle.
Well, no, absolutely. After a little bit of a shaky start, what I would say is now they've got that intent, Newcastle. They've got the crowd behind them. They wanted that goal. It's come from the perfect player. But the intent, trying to get in behind Jacob Ramsby, making runs in behind Fulham's line. Use this surface. It's going to skid off the surface. We're going to see mistakes. Try and capitalise on it.
Well, it's good news for Newcastle United in the fact they've already defeated in their last 18 matches when scoring first in the League Cup. They have to go back to 2017 against Forest when they last lost in the competition. They are on a terrific run, as we know. They've won in 90 minutes their last 8 League Cup games. And their last League Cup defeat came on penalties. That was in the quarter-final against Chelsea in 23-24. The last inside 90 minutes was against Manchester United, of course, in the final. Oh, that's poor that time from Lecomte. He's not having the best of days. He gave that straight to Livramento. Guimaraes does brilliantly to win it for Newcastle United. Gets it to Barnes now down this left-hand side. Barnes shooting chance, right foot. It's blocked by Kene Tete on this near side, and Well, this is the last thing they need. Livramento was caught late there, and he's in some discomfort with the injuries on that back line. It's the last thing Eddie Howe needs as he shakes his head down below us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a fair challenge as well, wasn't it? Those two players going in full-hearted, but Livramento coming off the worst and limping around, and I'm sure that Eddie Howe is hoping that his full-back is going to be okay.
Throw taken short by Livramento. I think he just said to Ramsey, don't give it back to me. Barnes swings the ball in. It's a curling one right under the goalkeeper. And probably not a bad idea to put some pressure on the Frenchman, because he's not exactly started the game with the most amount of confidence.
No, I think when you're not playing regular, it's probably the number one position as goalkeeper is you feel the nerves start to jangle a little bit. Whenever that ball comes into your area, you want the first touch to be a really commanding one. You want your first play out from the back to be that. And he's looked a little bit shaky, I have to say. And I talked about getting that ball into the area. Well, Newcastle are starting to do that now, and it can easily slip out of those goalkeepers' gloves. So fair play to him. He held on to that one well.
Berger has it in the middle of the park for Fulham. Finds Anderson just to his right-hand side. The perfect start here for Newcastle, but Fulham trying to respond. Robinson's cross is a good one, and it's a header from Sasha Lukic, who pulls things level. 8 yards out, just ghosting into the penalty area, and the Newcastle lead didn't last very long. Brilliant cross from Robinson. Lukic with the simplest of headers beyond Ramsdale and into the back of the net, and Fulham are level with almost 16 minutes played. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1.
Well, it doesn't get any more simpler than that for Fulham. You can win the ball up in that midfield area. It's a wonderful diagonal ball out to Robinson. He's not closed or pressed down quick enough. He's able to just pick his spot. Lovely little floater ball into the area, but the diagonal pass makes it. And when that ball comes into the area, you want willing midfield runners like Lukic, and he just times it perfectly. He's got the whole goal to aim for, and it's a super header which gives Ramsdale absolutely no chance.
As a cross from a left back, that was pretty decent, Mickey. Yeah. You can appreciate that.
It's beautiful, it really is. But where's the pressure? I know Lewis Miley's playing as a right back tonight, but he's got to know that you have to stop your wide player from putting the ball into the area. He gives him too much time. It's too easy for Robinson. And Lukic, where's the midfield runner from Newcastle, tracking back and helping out? He's got acres of space, and when he gets into the area, he just picks his spot.
Only his second start in the League Cup for Sasha Lukic, and he has his second goal in the competition. St James's Park falls silent as the small band of Fulham fans away to our left-hand side, high up in the stand. Well, they'll celebrate, I'm sure, but they'll be looked down and be a little bit careful as they are celebrating. Here's the free kick for Newcastle, midway inside their own half. How can Eddie Howe's side respond? 17 minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport 2. There it remains. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Out wide on that right-hand side, Newcastle United on the attack, and the ball is back once more with Willock, who finds Chow. Here's Cher down this left-hand side, only his 10th start of the campaign. The preferred option for Eddie Howe in the last few weeks has been Chow and Byrne, but obviously with Dan Byrne absent now for, I think, around 6 weeks with that fractured rib, and I think there was a punctured lung as too, wasn't there? It was a thunderous collision between the two, and challenge for sure. Cher again will now get an extended run, particularly in the absence of Botman too. On that far side, the right-hand side, there's an opportunity here once more for them to turn, which they do with Livramento, who's tucked across now on that right-hand side. He finds Willock again, who goes back on that far touchline to Miley, and now Willock will lift the ball, and Visser's coming in with a header, and it's down, and it's well defended by Tete, who then has to hack it clear and puts it behind, but the offside flag goes up anyway.
That's massive chance. Whether he's onside or offside, Johan Visser, he's not to know that. He just made that run in between the two centre-halves. Beautiful ball into the area again. Joe Willock this time from the right-hand side, but as that ball comes in, he has to score. Yes, the flag went up, but Visser's not to know that. And from that opportunity, a bright centre-forward who's already got himself on the score sheet should have two.
The lead lasted less than 6 minutes between those two goals. Here's Kevin on that far side, running at Miley towards the edge of the penalty area, clips it through towards Wilson. Wilson then tries to tee it up to the shot from Kevin again, he slides in, makes good contact, but it's straight at Aaron Ramsdale.
Well, again, I mean, it's brilliant play, great hold-up play from Harry Wilson inside the 18-yard area. Looks like Smith Rowe's going to take the shot on, just plays it to the side of him. Kevin's running onto it. Again, he's got to make better contact, and I think he has to do a lot better there, I really do.
Already, Lewis Miley is coming under an awful amount of pressure on that far side, playing as the emergency right back tonight for Newcastle United. There's a foul on the captain, Bruno Guimaraes, just 10 yards inside the Newcastle half, taking it quickly, trying to get Livramento away down this left-hand side, but on this wet surface that just skids on towards the corner flag, and it will be a throw-in down this right-hand side for Fulham as we approach the 20-minute mark here on Talksport 2. It's Newcastle 1, Fulham 1.
Well, Adam, I think having watched the first 20 minutes, and this was always a concern for me for Newcastle, when Tonali is not in the starting 11 for Newcastle and Joe Linton, I wonder where that physical presence is, where's that guile, where's the energy? And on other players who came into the side tonight, Jacob Ramsby, they have to give something more than going forward. You've got to help out defensively as well. And when Fulham break, they're breaking with numbers. These Newcastle players who came into the starting 11 got to give us more.
Here's Wilson fighting on this near side to try and win the ball off Ramsey. He managed to poke it to the feet of Barnes. Barnes infield to Bruno Guimaraes, and he switches play to that right-hand side delightfully. Level with the edge of the penalty area. It's Murphy who finds Willock inside the box, has to step back, gives it to Murphy, who whips a delightful cross in. It's punched away by the keeper. Comes out towards Guimaraes again. Can't quite set himself for the shot, and instead he feeds Lewis Miley. Infield to Guimaraes, and the Brazilian captain just slips it forward again. Lovely pass in the box. Livramento's there, can't get the ball out from under his feet, loses possession, and now the counters may be on here for Fulham down that left-hand side with Smith Rowe, but there's no real pace about his attack. It allows the Newcastle players to get back in some resemblance of a decent defensive formation, and Fulham in the end go back to their goalkeeper away to our left-hand side.
Well, they just never had the numbers, did they, in the forward positions, Fulham, at that point in time. But going back a little bit earlier than that was Livramento, whose first touch just led him down inside that Fulham 18-yard box, couldn't get his shot away.
Willock, lovely switch of play to that far side again to pick out the chest of Jacob Murphy. Back inside again towards Miley, and here's Chow. Chow to the left will find Fabian Schär, who's advanced into the Fulham half, where he's supported there by Livramento. Back to Chow again. Ramsdale's midway inside the Newcastle half if required. He's not, because they've gone wide to Murphy. Murphy low ball in early, teasing around the edge of that 6-yard box as ever. Miley tees it up for Guimaraes, cries of shoot onto Miley, helped on its way to Murphy at the byline, clips the deflected ball over towards the back post. Barnes will head it down into the danger zone, and then it's volleyed clear by Harry Wilson, and there's a foul on Raul Jimenez, and could be the first yellow card, and it is, and it's going to Fabian Schär. He goes into the book, and it will be a free kick for Fulham.
Well, Fabian Schär, look, it's the right call to give him a yellow card, and he's made the foul in Fulham's half, but I think anywhere a little bit closer to Newcastle's half, he might have been in a bit of a sticky situation now, Adam, I have to say, because he's last man. I think he has got Malik Thiaw alongside him, who maybe would have helped out, but it's a silly challenge to make because they're panicking a little bit, Fulham, at times, just clearing the lines, but when they do, it seems to be Raul Jimenez or Smith Rowe who are picking up second balls and giving them the opportunity to break on Newcastle.
Fulham just dispossessed. Good work that time by Ramsey, was working hard. Here's Barnes in a central area. Guimaraes from the edge of the box fires over the crossbar. It was an opportunity. You can see how it opened up for him. There may have been better options available than the shot, but the captain took his chances, and it's a goal kick to Fulham.
Yeah, he did. A silly pass, I have to say, from Joachim Andersen, just playing that ball out from the back into that midfield area. And it's what Newcastle are waiting for. That little mistake, the first touch, which is going to be difficult all night tonight with a slippy surface. And Bruno Guimaraes, you're right, when he got to the edge of the 18-yarder, he's normally a little bit cooler than that, maybe trying to pick out one of his teammates in a better position.
I know you were here when these sides met in the Premier League early on this season. Of course, Sasha Lukic scored that day. He's actually only scored 3 goals in what this is his 86th appearance for Fulham. It's a lovely ball across from Murphy right through the danger zone, across that 6-yard area, and how on earth nobody has got a touch on that, either in a green shirt or a black and white striped shirt, I do not know. It's a delightful cross right into the danger zone. but no one gambling and no one sticking a boot out.
Well, Jacob Murphy's put some absolutely sensational balls into the area. And it's that ball, as I mentioned before, don't try and play it on somebody's head all of the time when the grass is so wet like it is. Get it skidding on the grass. Defenders will make mistakes, but where's his teammates to get on the end of that? I know he's not 100% fit, Johan Wissa, but that is the type of ball that centre-forwards just thrive on.
22nd League Cup appearance for Jacob Murphy. All in all, his debut back in 2014 against Crawley, so he's been around for a while as Wilson tries to play a low sliding ball inside the Newcastle penalty area that's easy for Ramsdale to gather away to our right hand side. 24.5 minutes played here. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1, and the game over on Talksport. They are into the second half, and it remains Manchester City 1, Brentford 0, and still up in Scotland it's Dundee United 0, Celtic 1. On that far side, Newcastle have possession, desperately searching to get back in front in this game. It's with Cher, the only player on a yellow card so far. There are a few, if booked tonight, would miss the first leg of any semi-final, depending on which side, of course, ends up being victorious. The draw will take place this evening as there's a challenge there on Sander Berger that's penalised by Darren England, and it's another free kick for Fulham in the middle of the park. You say it's perfect for football tonight. It's very slippy conditions out there. There's a few sliding in.
Well, if you ask any player who's playing now what surface they'd love to play on, this is it. There's barely any wind out there, and it's just skidding off the surface, and the players will be absolutely loving it. We're seeing the challenges going as well, some of them mistimed as well. Jacob Ramsby on this occasion going to ground. Yes, he made contact with the ball, but the player at the same time as well, and I think that's why he was waving his arms around, frustrated that the referee gave a foul.
Well, Ramsdale's just tried to keep the ball in away to our right hand side, has failed miserably, and it's yet another corner to Fulham on that left hand side. Sasha Lukic and Wilson have gone across to try and deal with it. I know we're not talking points up for grabs tonight, but only Brentford have dropped more points in the Premier League from winning positions than Newcastle, and once again tonight Newcastle have got themselves in front and have been pegged back. One apiece. Lukic's ball in is not the best. It's kind of half cleared by, I think, the chest initially of Willett. I mean, I thought there might have been an arm as a leaning, but no VAR tonight, you'll be very pleased to hear, of course, so there'll be no checking of those moments. Here's Smith Rowe midway inside the Newcastle United half on this right hand side. He's been in a decent bit of form of late as well. 4 goals to his name so far this season. Made that blistering start when he made that move from Arsenal at the start of last season. Everyone thought what a bargain he was, but drifted as the season went on and found himself out of the starting 11 of Marco Silva. But again, with 3 players away on AFCON duty and 3 players who've had huge impacts for Fulham throughout this campaign, I think Smith Rowe is on for an extended run in the side.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing Smith Rowe a little bit early on the season, and he looked a bit heavy, to put it a nice way, and didn't look like he was up to 100%. But over the weeks as they've gone by and he's played more, I think he's back to his sharpness. He just needs that run of games, doesn't he? And find a club where he's going to play more regular.
Well, he scored the winning goal against Cambridge in round 3. That was his only appearance in the competition this season prior to tonight. And he's just trying to influence the game on the far side. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 games, so the form is definitely there. He and Wilson are the players that are driving Fulham into this decent run at the moment that's seen them win their last 2 away games, having lost the previous 5. And they're trying to add to that tally tonight. 1 apiece on Talksport 2. 28 minutes play. It's with Anderson again. He puts it to the left, finds Kuenka. And forward it goes to around him, and Evu slips it to Kevin. Kevin, right-footed shot from the edge of the penalty area. Probably about 2 or 3 yards outside the box, and ends up sending it 5 or 6 yards over the crossbar.
Well, 2 good opportunities Kevin's had now. I think the second one, yes, a little bit more difficult because it's further out. But it's maybe a wide player who needs to start scoring goals more on a regular basis, and I think he's just leaning back because that's an opportunity. He's got time to compose himself, and he should not be firing that so high over the top of the crossbar.
Well, did the double over Newcastle last season in the Premier League. Their only wins in the last 12 times they've met in all competitions. That's since December 2018. And again, the referee now just having a little word with Sasa Lukic in the process of totting up. He's giving him a yellow card. So, not a bad collection tonight. A goal, yellow card as well. Don't see the totting up too often nowadays, do you?
No, you don't. I mean, he's known for a yellow card, isn't he, Sasha Lucas? I think he's already had a suspension this season because he's picked up so many in the Premier League. But he's that type of player. He's tenacious, and he does things at times where, you know, I'm sure managers are tearing their hair out because, you know, where he's made that foul, Newcastle are not going anywhere. Stand your ground, be very difficult to beat and break down, and then he gets away with not being in the book. But now he has to just be a little bit cautious for the rest of the game.
Bruno Guimaraes over towards halfway on this left-hand side. Cher just tries to bend the ball into a decent run that had been made by Harvey Barnes towards the edge of the penalty area. Couldn't find him on that occasion. And now it's Miley out wide on that far side. Gets it back that time from Willock, and they're not happy that it went back from Willock and not out into that wide area to find Murphy. But that was the little layoff that Willock chose. Infield to Guimaraes again. Here's Malik Chow on to Fabian Cher down this left-hand side. Cher on a charge here towards the edge of the penalty area. Still going. He's got Livramento outside him onto his right foot. Had a chance to cross. Instead he went to Guimaraes in a more central position. Miley on to Livramento again. Dispossessed at the edge of the penalty area. Comes out to Guimaraes, and everyone's camped in the half of Fulham and in and around the penalty area. Cher thinking about hitting one maybe. In the end he goes towards Miley. That's a brilliant tackle from Raul Jimenez, who's back defending. And then Kevin tried to slip a ball through to Harry Wilson, who was charging down this right-hand side. But on that occasion not hit well enough and not directed well enough to get through a Newcastle United retreating back line. Here's Livramento now up the other end towards the edge of the penalty area. Ramsey to the edge of the box. Barnes thinks about hitting one, hits them so well from those areas, right at the edge of the penalty area, left hand side on his right foot, bends one towards the far post. Too much on it, out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick, and it remains 1-1.
Well, just looking at the body language of Joe Willock when Harvey Barnes has picked that ball up in this left-hand corner at him. He's waiting for the ball to come into the area. Looks like he's going to whip it in with his left foot, and he works it back onto his right foot. You're making 2 or 3 runs as a midfield player, and you don't know what you're going to get at the end of it. That's why he's frustrated. And you see those midfield runners from Newcastle, it's not happening at the moment. Somebody's got to take a risk in that midfield area and make a run in beyond Fulham's back line when they get the chance. Fulham players are doing it, and they're doing it really well. But if Newcastle are going to get something, that's what they have to start to do.
Benjamin Lecomte's taking his time over that goal kick, much to the frustration of the home support. Oh, and that's a back pass. It's got Ramsdale just scampering a little bit by Cher on this near side. Cher in the left-back position this time, plays it forward, and he's there because Livramento's further up the field. Good sliding tackle from Sander Berge again. Last goal was December 2023 for Sander Berge in that midfield. Actually scored it against Fulham, of course, who he plays for now.
He should score more goals, Adam.
He's never scored for Fulham.
Yeah, he's a good player. You know, when he was at Sheffield United, he was a standout player, and he made some great runs and scored some important goals. I know this is the next level coming to a side like Fulham, but he's got much more to offer than he has. He's still a very good player, and there was speculation about Manchester United in the summer as well. That's how good of a player he is, but he needs to add more to his game.
He's only scored 1 League Cup goal as well throughout his career. It's his 9th appearance tonight. That came against Salford when he played for Burnley during his season there. I think only the foul there did Sasha Lukic, and waved away by Darren England, and Newcastle will gather possession again at the edge of their own penalty area. We've got 12 minutes to go to half-time. You're listening to Talksport 2. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1. On that far side, the right-hand side, it's Murphy, who's been a real menace for Robinson throughout this first half. This time Robinson gets the better of that challenge, though, and then it goes out of play for what will be a throw to Newcastle, level with the penalty spot on that far side, the right.
Really good battle, that, isn't it? Jacob Murphy alongside Anthony Robinson, who knows, you know, he's quick as anybody in the Premier League, but Murphy, as I mentioned before, 2 or 3 occasions he's put some wonderful balls into the area. But that little bit of confidence in front of goal from Newcastle, that's what they have to find.
Newcastle will be the 5th team to retain the League Cup, should they manage it. Twice done by Forest, of course. Here's Livramento, right-footed ball, swung towards the back post over the top of Malik Chow, and out of play. And, well, Mickey, you were stretching your arms out as if to say, where's the movement?
Well, exactly that. It's comfortable for Fulham. They know the ball's going to come into the area, and they've got defenders who they know they can rely on themselves in a 1v1 situation. Somebody needs to make a run out of the ordinary that these Fulham backline are not expecting. It's going to come from that midfield area. Look, Livramento is pretty much playing like a left midfielder, to be honest with you. That inverted fullback position, if you like. Maybe it's going to come from him, but somebody's got to do something out of the ordinary.
Picked up this time by Smith Rowe, gets it on towards Kevin. Miley has to intervene with a well-timed challenge. Otherwise, you would have seen Kevin in down that left-hand side. And Raul Jimenez, who's wearing gloves today, is running that line and working incredibly hard up top for Fulham. 1 goal in his last 10 in all competitions for Fulham. Has scored 3 in total this season. He scored in round 2 of this competition as well. That was his last League Cup goal. As that's cleared away right-footed by the 34-year-old Frenchman Benjamin Lecomte, who's in the Fulham goal tonight away to our left-hand side. More defending to be done by Anderson, picked up by Livramento. It's a bit better from Newcastle. They're keeping the ball a little better without looking entirely threatening in the final third. Here's Chow out wide to that right-hand side. Picked up by Murphy. Going outside of him was Miley, but Murphy instead tries to slip it in to Wisser, had closed down inside the penalty area. Well, he was snuffed out, and it's a back pass again to Lecomte. But it's headed forward by Miley towards the edge of the penalty area. Sander Berger's there again to knock it down, but all he can do is knock it back to the feet of another black and white shirt who are massing around in the crowd, roaring on. Cher as he goes forward to Wisser, 6 yards outside the penalty area. He attempts the first time pass to Willett, and now Raul Jimenez just doesn't have the pace really to try and take advantage of the counter-attack, and young Jacob Ramsey able to just fly in with a challenge in the centre circle and win it back for Newcastle. And I think the supporters around us kind of love that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from Jacob Ramsey. Really was tracking back, helping out his defenders.
Barnes to Guimaraes. Guimaraes tees himself for the shot, takes a deflection. Lecomte gets it out. Murphy back across. Wisser again, a chance to finish at the edge of the 6-yard area. This time it's well defended. Comes out to Livramento. He's going to shoot, and he does. Tries to bend one into the top corner, but it was always rising and always high and wide. And again, the only good, decent final ball into the box comes from Murphy.
But the thing with that, Adam, is where it comes from. That challenge, winning the ball back, Jacob Ramsey gets everybody on their feet, and then Newcastle create an opportunity through Bruno Guimaraes and Jacob Murphy. Yes, he scuffed it a little bit into the ground, but on a night like tonight, you never know what can happen. That's what it takes, somebody just grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and saying, I'm going to be the player who's going to make the difference.
A reminder that the Women's Champions League phase comes to a conclusion this evening. Half-time scores around the games involving English clubs. Juventus 0, Manchester United 1, Leuven 0, Arsenal 2, and Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 1 as things stand. We'll update you on those as we go through the evening, of course, following a similar process to the Men's Champions League this year in the big group phase. So tonight the split happens. Here we've got 7.5 minutes to go to half-time. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1. And the early goal-mouth action been replaced at this moment in time by some good possession for Newcastle United, and the odd moment Eddie Howe is out in his technical area, fairly drenched, I think it's safe to say, after the downpour that has ceased for now here in the northeast. Here's Cher. He's midway inside his own half, just slips the ball forward down that right-hand side where it's picked up again by Chow. And Miley will just get involved again on that far touchline, playing in that unaccustomed position this evening, of course. So now an opportunity for Wisser down this left-hand side towards the byline. He's got support around him. Wisser is forced back out towards Barnes. Barnes to Guimaraes again at the edge of the penalty area. Thinks about a shot. Tees it up now for Miley to the right-hand side. Murphy has it just off the angle of the penalty area on his right foot. Still going here, Murphy. He needs a bit of movement around him. It's not forthcoming. The only option is to go wide down this left-hand side. where Harvey Barnes is waiting. Barnes towards the byline, left with the ball, curled towards the back post, nodded back across goal that time by the arriving Miley, and volleyed back in by Willett, and cleared once more for a throw on the far side.
Amazing, isn't it, when you're positive and the Newcastle supporters start getting behind their players, and all it takes is a decent ball into the area. Lewis Miley's made a very good run. He's got a good head on it, actually, and they just keep the ball alive. But the Geordie supporters then get behind their players. They're starting to put pressure on Fulham now.
Here is Cher, inside the centre circle. The ball is picked up by Chow. Back again into Newcastle territory. Ramsdale, the obvious option. If you are listening across the pond as well, on Sirius XFM FC, thank you for joining us in our coverage of these Carabao Cup quarter-finals tonight. All picked up by Harvey Barnes. Remains one apiece here with 5.5 minutes remaining in this first half at St James's Park. Header just to keep the ball in play on that far side is from Murphy, and then it hits the corner flag and goes out of play. And it means right by their own corner flag here, Fulham are going to have a throw.
Yeah, it's so bizarre, isn't it? A thin little pole like that in the corner can just knock the ball out for a throw-in rather than just a simple goal kick, and there's no pressure on you. But you see Anthony Robinson right in the corner in that left-back position, now under a little bit of pressure to get a long throw off him.
I think he's going to try and find Raul Jimenez, and he does. He managed to find his feet on this occasion. Berger's there, but he then loses possession, and Willett gets a cross in, but again, no one really attacking the near post or in the penalty area for Fulham, and it's comfortably into Lecomte, and he's just kicked it first time to set Wilson away, and he's delivered straight to the feet of Livramento. It's terrible from the Frenchman, not for the first time. Really poor distribution. Left hand side is Barnes, level with the edge of the penalty area on his right foot. Gimenez, 25 yards, 30 yards from goal. Then to Cher, who's more like 40 yards out. Chow down that right hand side, thinks about shooting, then slips a lovely ball in towards Murphy, low across the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's blocked out on that far side by Cuenca, who did a brilliant job to put it behind.
Yeah, brilliant defending from Cuenca there, but very good play from Newcastle. The build-up play, the little reverse pass in between the centre-half and full-back. Murphy again over on that right-hand side, just fizzing that ball into an area. His distribution from over on that right-hand side tonight has been absolutely top class.
Here's the corner on that far side, right-footed. Going to be swung in by Miley, I think, who's taken that one short, and he does, just tees up Livramento. Back to Miley again on that far side, on his right foot, bright orange boots towards the edge of the penalty area, clips the ball over, header away by Cuenca again, out as far as Murphy, who goes diagonally into the penalty area, and Tete doesn't really get a shout from anyone, and then nods the ball out for a throw right by the corner flag on this left-hand side.
Well, where's the communication? You know, it's a simple header for Kenny Tete. He actually doesn't have to head it, he just lets it hit the ground and skid out of play. But somebody has to tell the fullback that he's got time and he can leave it and he can let the ball bounce. And yet again, it's a little bit of a half chance, I suppose, for Newcastle now to get the ball into Fulham's area.
Here's the throw then down this left-hand side for Newcastle United. Livramento will take. Short to Gimenez. Back to Livramento, right for the ball. It's a bender into the edge of the 6-yard area. It was low and easily headed out in the end by Anderson. I think the idea was good. Execution not the best that time from Livramento. Let's see what Gimenez can do from a similar position. He curls that straight down the throat of Lecomte, who gathers it quite comfortably.
His handling's been very well, Lecomte, and whenever that ball's come anywhere near him, albeit he's not really been put under pressure by any Newcastle player. I think it's more he's with his feet. He looks a little bit nervy, keeps giving the ball away.
Manchester City now leading 2-0 against Brentford in the game that's over on Talksport right now. Down this left-hand side, Barnes, left-footed ball towards the back post. Whistle got up, couldn't get there. Murphy then, and they want a penalty. And it's not going to be given by Darren England, who waves it away, but Murphy's shot does go behind, and that will be a corner. Mickey, penalty for you?
I'm not sure, and I think the only reason being, I think both players, as they go up to try and head the ball, are in the air. It's very difficult to give somebody a shove then, and Yohai Wissa will know that. He'll expect somebody to be physical with him, and it's just because he's coming over the top of, I think it's Cuenca. But when he goes to ground, yes, of course, they're going to appeal for a penalty, but I think the right call has been made.
Here's the corner then. Again, it's on the right-hand side, so Miley has it. There's an option short available if he chooses to take it in Murphy. And Miley instead does swing it towards the penalty spot, just evades everyone. Gimenez just couldn't quite get up on his toes to win the header. Instead, he tracks back outside the penalty area to gather the ball. Now Smith Rowe. Gimenez does well. Finds Smith Rowe again. Now the counter's on. Lukic is making a massive charge. Smith Rowe still going. He's tackled by Wissa, who came back, and boy, do they love that round here. It's a winning challenge according to Darren England, but then Wissa just gives the ball away as he took it off the toes of Willock at the edge of the centre circle.
Well, Johan Wissa's helped out Bruno Guimaraes, who gave the ball away when he really didn't need to. Just had to play a simple pass, and Wissa's had to come back eventually and track back. And it's a brilliant time challenge, shoulder to shoulder. He was stronger. And you hear again the cheer from these Newcastle supporters. It's what they want to see more of.
Raul Jimenez goes up and wins the header against Cher and flicks it down, but it runs through to Ramsdale away to our right-hand side. We're into the final 60 seconds here on Talksport 2 of this first half. Murphy away down that right-hand side. Thought he had the beating of Robinson, to be fair, but the ball has the beating of the pair of them, and it runs out for a throw, which will be taken very quickly by Robinson. Into the feet of Smith Rowe. Two Newcastle players around him immediately. Loses possession, but they win it back with Sander Berger. Into the feet of Jimenez, who lays off down this right-hand side to Kenny Tete, who's not really had an opportunity to get forward. We're into a minute of added time at the end of this first half.
Minutes additional time to be added.
Goenka has possession. Into Berger, closed down immediately by Willock. And then the winning runner in Wissa flips the ball forward, and it's going to go out of play on that far side, and it'll be a throw to Newcastle by the corner flag. And well, unless Newcastle decide to move fairly swiftly on this one, it's probably going to be the last action of the opening 45 minutes under the lights here at St James's Park, with it being Newcastle 1, Fulham 1 as things stand. Goal from Wissa on his first start for the club. 3 substitute appearances prior to tonight, but Sasha Lukic with only his 3rd goal in 85 for 86 appearances for Fulham. This is going to have to be dealt with by Lecomte. No, there's no back pass. It was Barnes who was trying to get between Anderson and Tete there, but the referee not interested in the requests for a back pass to the keeper as he picked it up. However, he has got his whistle to his lips, and the minute is done, and the first half is done at St James's Park, and it's not a bad reception for the players as they depart. They got the perfect start courtesy of that goal from Wissa. His 50th in English football, but cancelled out by a very simple header from Sasha Lukic, and it means at half-time here at St James's Park, it's Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1.
Yeah, the players making their way towards us, down the tunnel below us. We're still waiting for the big moment that will decide this cup time. We thought it would come on 10 minutes, Mickey Gray, when Johan Wissa tapped in. What on earth is the goalkeeper doing?
I think what we witnessed, Adrian, was a very nervy goalkeeper who's only been involved this season in this League Cup competition, where he sat and watched a lot of games, and he didn't want to be that player who made the mistake. And I think you could sense that by the way he parried the ball straight into the path of Johan Wissa. Yeah, there's a bit of bad luck on his part from that, but Wissa just took a chance. He doesn't really know too much about the goal, but when it finds its way into the back of the net, these Geordie supporters were all behind him because he's waited a long time to start a game for his new club, and that is a perfect start for him.
The equaliser came pretty soon. How has Sasha Lukic got so much time and space in the box?
Well, not just him, Anthony Robinson down the left-hand side as well. Look, it's a beautiful diagonal pass to Robinson, but as we touched on and Adam mentioned, the right-back, Lewis Miley, who's not used to playing in that position, maybe he doesn't know that he's got to go and get close to Robinson to stop the cross in the first place. Beautiful ball into the area. But in that first half, I talked about Joe Linton not playing, Tonali not playing, and not having that instinct of saying, well, look, there's a midfield player running off the back of me here. The 2 midfield players who came into the starting 11 tonight just switched off. And Lukic has got so much time. Beautiful ball into the area, but he could have went to the left, he could have went to the right, he could have went underneath the goalkeeper. Great header from his part, but that was poor defending from Newcastle.
Can we just give some admiration for Anthony Robinson? He's just come back from injury. He's a really good player anyway. Just come back from injury. And you're right about Lewis Miley being at right back. We'll discuss that more in a second, but in the space of a split second, Anthony Robinson has controlled the ball perfectly. He's looked up, he's hit the perfect cross, found a free teammate in the box and planted it on his head. It's magnificent from Robinson.
It's outstanding, Ada. Look, if I can say it, I think Liverpool missed a trick. in who they signed in the summer, because I thought Robinson was a better option than Kirkes. That's for another day. He's still a Fulham player, but what he brings in the opposition's half, as well as helping out defending, is he gives you that width. He's got great quality with that left foot. He can come up with the odd goal, but I think his quality from that left-back position is absolutely outstanding. On the money, I would say. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Now, Miley at right-back, I think when the game kicked off, you saw he was at right-back and you're looking at me, eyebrows raised, and listen, you've got to admire the young kid, but he's been given a big job to do, and it's been a tough one for him.
Well, there's a couple of ways of looking at it. I don't give any fault to him, because at his age, all he wants to do is play first-team football. But I would ask Eddie Howe what you're doing playing him there in a game like this, at this magnitude. Let's not forget, quarter-finals we're talking about here. Somebody who's probably not played in that position a lot, looking for a little bit of help in front of him, which is not coming his way. I think the two players playing on the right-hand side maybe should have actually even rotated. I mean, we were talking about Ramsey playing as right back. He's put in some great balls into Fulham's 18-yard area. But that is a worry for me, Lewis Miley playing as a right back. It's not where he wants to play. Look, he's a steady Eddie type of player in my eyes. He doesn't really do anything out of the ordinary. He's just simple, keeps the ball. But to play him in that position and not get any help, well, they got caught out.
Is there a case to say they should have played 3-5-2 with Livramento as the extra centre-back?
Well, possibly, yeah. We were looking at what personnel they've got in the game tonight, and I think they could have easily done that. With Robinson playing as a left wing back, with the pace that he's got and the energy getting up and down the pitch, they could have easily played 2 or 3 players down that right-hand side, and they've done it before. These players have played in those wing-back positions. So, depending on how this second half goes, it might be a question for Eddie Howe.
Well, Man City lead Brentford by 2-0 in the League Cup quarter-final, live on Talksport right now. Here on Talksport 2, it's all square at half-time. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1.
No-nonsense sports coverage.
Oh, he's going all the way! This is Talksport 2.
The Fan Network Show on Talksport 2. Every Thursday night, make Talksport 2 your ultimate destination for the UK's best fan-led football conversation. Featuring all the teams from across all the major divisions. Discover a league of unbeatable club-dedicated fan opinion. The Fan Network Show. Every Thursday night on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream a festive month of sport this December on Sky Sports with a Now Month membership.
Another gift of a goal!
18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Rumour has it Alicia's Just Eat order could win her one of millions of prizes. Honestly, they're giving away tens of thousands in cash, smartphones, Just Eat vouchers and lastminute.com vouchers worth up to $5,000. That's why she's in holiday mode, on a sofa, whilst dressed in a bikini.
If somebody say Just Eat.
18 plus, GB only, £5 minimum spend on app, excluding fees. Price restrictions and fees apply. Ends 4th of Jan, full terms online.
Love sports? So do we! At Sporting Life, we give you access to premium sports betting insights, and it's all completely free. Whether it's the thrill of the race or the excitement of the big match, we're here because every moment matters. Join Sporting Life today to enhance your betting experience with in-depth analysis, exclusive content, and the latest form and stats. When it comes to sports, we're on your side. Search Sporting Life.
Let's show even more people just how much they mean to us this Christmas with 20% off Moonpig cards. Fill them with stickers, photos, even a heartfelt video. All with 20% off when you use code XMAS20. Because this Christmas, everyone deserves a
Moonpig.com.
Merry Christmas, my love.
Merry Christmas, Mum.
Merry Christmas, Nanny.
Happy New Year! From the UK's first mobile phone call to the first text, we've been connecting you at Christmas since 1984 on Vodafone, the nation's network. The Nations Network, Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. Learn more at vodafone.co.uk/TNN.
At Lidl, get the best value this Christmas when you're carving up a storm. We won't be beaten on price with our Birchwood fresh British whole turkeys, in store from the 19th of December. Now that's what we call a showstopper. Lidl, more to value. Selected products price matched in most major UK supermarkets until 24th of the 12th. See lidl.co.uk/LPTV while stocks last, exclusions apply.
I'm Professor Huggington, and I like to...
When your kid's favourite toy starts to run out of battery power, no need to worry. Your new batteries are already on their way, arriving today with Amazon Prime. Everyday essentials delivered fast. It's on Prime.
I'm Professor Huggington, and I like to hug.
Cut-off times and T's and C's apply. See product page when ordering.
This Saturday, leave behind the dank, rank monotony of the weekday. The spirit of Saturday is upon us. Rise up.
It's big ticket live Premier League football you can't afford to miss.
Saturday is game day.
What a strike! One spectacular pitch performance you can't hear anywhere else.
Exclusive full match commentary of Newcastle versus Chelsea.
Game day exclusive.
This Saturday on Talksport.
Get all the goals on your radio.
And he heads it towards goal, and it's in!
The League Cup live on Talksport 2.
It's Talksport 2 live at St James Park, half-time. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1, second half to come here on Talksport 2. And I'm going to name drop here. I've just seen Andy Brassel, star of Talksport's Trans-Euro Express on a Sunday night. He's here at St James Park watching this Carabao Cup quarter-final, all square at the break. What's happening in the darts at Alexandra Palace? Mark Wilson.
We've just had a little bit of history here. Stefan Belmont becomes the first Swiss player ever to win on the stage. He's dumped out Raymond van Barneveld, and he has done it in style. Barney won the opening leg of the match, but Belmont reeled off the next 8 on the spin. He led by 2 sets to nil and 2 legs to nil. Barney threatened a revival at the end, but Belmont, despite missing a couple of match darts, held his nerve and held his throw to set up a 3-0 victory. He's through to face Damon Heta next. The machine James Wade takes on the Japanese qualifier Ryosei Azamoto. That's live on the TalkSport app and on the TalkSport Darts YouTube channel.
Top man Mark, thank you very much. Still 2-0 to Man City against Brentford, live on TalkSport right now. Still waiting for the teams to come out. Second half here at St James Park. Newcastle and Fulham all square. Now there's more live football to come on TalkSport 2. Tomorrow night, Crystal Palace face Cups in the Europa Conference League. And much of the pre-match build-up has revolved around manager Oliver Glasner's future. He and his captain Mark Gahey have been linked with moves away from Selhurst Park, and he was asked to comment on the speculation in today's press conference.
Could those conversations about your contract happen after January, in the spring, right towards the end of the season?
I just tell you it will happen before the 1st of July, because then my contract has ended. Somebody writes something, even could be anonymous, everybody copy and paste, and all of a sudden it's a worldwide story, and we all believe that's the worst thing. We all believe that it's true. You can believe so much written about myself, and yesterday evening my family texted me, hey, what's going on? I said, please don't read all this stuff.
How eager would you be for the future of your captain to be resolved in January? Whatever the decision's made, would that be something you'd be keen for?
I think Mark would stay and plays until the end of the season. That's my understanding right now. Nobody told me something different. I know there is no offer right now, so why expecting something different?
Oliver Glasner, and don't forget that game tomorrow night live on TalkSport 2, Palace against Cups in the Europa Conference League. Mickey Gray, let's bring you in here. Mark Gahey, is there a good reason why he would stay? Can you make the case for him to stay at Crystal Palace and sign a new contract?
If I'm honest, Adrian, no. I think there's going to be too many, let's say, huge clubs that are going to be wanting the signing of Mark Gahey in the summer. Whether he signs a pre-contract before then or not is yet to be seen. But I still think he'll see out the season with Crystal Palace. And it's only going to add to the frustration from Oliver Glasner, because I spoke to Glasner a couple of weeks ago after they played Burnley, and I could sense the frustration when I was speaking to him then about the size of his squad, knowing that they were playing European football, and just saying that his players, even right now, are running on empty. And to lose somebody like Mark Gahey, I know it's going to come in the summer, but it just adds to the woes and the worries of Crystal Palace.
So Oliver Glasner frustrated, and he said it out loud, hasn't he? He said it to you, he said it out loud that he was frustrated. You need more bodies when you're trying to compete in Europe, and I think bearing that in mind, and I think he's spot on with that, by the way. And let's not forget they lost Abiri Eze, a top player, the cup winner in the summer. When you're in that situation, it must be frustrating, given the job he's done. He's made history at Crystal Palace, and then he feels like he's not been backed properly after giving the club their only major trophy so far in their history. You'd be frustrated as manager, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, we talked about Marco Silva earlier, Adrian, and, you know, being frustrated, his hands are tied, not being able to bring in the players that he wanted to bring in. But let's not forget, you know, Crystal Palace have got European football this season, which has never been achieved. You know, as you mentioned there, winning a trophy. He's done an incredible job, and we're talking about Mark Gahey. I just wonder about Oliver Glasner, and he's going to get offers. There's no doubt about it, and I think people are talking about it now. And I don't know if you saw that little clip of him speaking to Pep Guardiola in the game when they played against Man City. Was it last weekend?
Yeah.
I just wonder what they were saying to each other.
Yeah, it was animated for sure. And actually, let's put the facts on the table that he qualified them for the Europa League, but because of things that went on above him at the football club, they weren't allowed to compete in the Europa League, which he's won before with Eintracht Frankfurt. Again, you'd be frustrated as manager. I think that in terms of Palace's future, and in terms, I think Gay's gone, but in terms of keeping Glasner, this January window is absolutely massive. If they show some intent, some ambition, they might just keep him.
But what can you do in January? This is the big worry for me, and this is why Oliver Glasner's probably again had the conversation with the powers that be in the summer to say, look, we're losing an incredible player in Eze. We should have in place somebody to replace Eze, because we know he's going to be leaving this football club. We're getting a huge amount of money for him. Let's go and spend it wisely on somebody who's going to fit into this system of the way that we want to play at Crystal Palace. They brought in players, but they didn't bring in the calibre of somebody like Eze, and this is why he keeps complaining, and he's frustrated every single week when we see him being interviewed.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be understandable to the Palace fans, who must be themselves very frustrated with what's going on and very concerned with what's going on or not going on as well. And Glasner will be in demand. There's no doubt about that. 100%. We talked about Eddie Howe's future. He'll be in demand.
Yeah, 100%. Whether it's in the Premier League or whether it's somewhere else, you know, don't think just because he's managing now in the best league in the world that he's going to stick around and maybe manage another club in the Premier League. He could go anywhere. I mean, he's going to have options. As we talk about, Mark Gahey is going to have options. There will be so many chops and changes with managerial posts coming up, Adrian, and I think he'd be at the top of the tree.
Tomorrow night then, Palace in Europa Conference League action, live here on Talksport 2. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, and the Palace legend Darren Ambrose scored some worldies for Crystal Palace on commentary duty with Alex Cook for that one. Friday night, it's a Wales derby, kind of. Swansea and Wrexham aren't exactly geographically close, but they are in the same country, and that game from the Championship live on Talksport 2. Also on Talksport 2, Saturday lunchtime, two sides who have been in good form in recent weeks. Southampton take on the leaders Coventry in the Championship at 12:30. Same time on Talksport, they'll be back here at St James Park for Newcastle against Chelsea. And then Game Day Live, I'll be at Man City against West Ham, taking you around the grounds with all the goals as they go on. A big Saturday of football action, and it's a big game in League One. Actually, Cardiff beaten live on Talksport by Chelsea in the Carabao Cup quarter-final last night. Go to Lincoln, that's third against Top. That and many other goals will be covered. Games will be covered as we bring you the goals as they go in on Game Day Live Saturday afternoon. Myself, Troy Deeney and Scott Minto, all at games on Saturday for Talksport. But this is Talksport 2. Over on Talksport right now, Manchester City leading Brentford by 2-0, heading through to the Carabao Cup semi-final. Who's going through here? It's all square. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1, second half on Talksport 2 with Mickey Gray and Adam Bridge.
Half-time change for Fulham. It's the goal scorer, Sasha Lukic, who's departed. Harrison Reed has entered the fray for a 23rd League Cup appearance, 13th for Fulham. He's one of those players who, if he receives a yellow card, he would be suspended for the first leg of the semi-final. Should they get there, 12th and 13th in the Premier League, no surprise, probably at half-time then it's a tight affair. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1, but we are back underway for the start of this second half. Ramsdale is in goal for Newcastle. It's Miley, Chow, Cher and Livramento across the back. Bruno Guimaraes, Willock and Ramsey in midfield, with Murphy, Wissa and Barnes up front for Newcastle United. As for Fulham, Lecomte is the goalkeeper. It's Tete, Anderson, Cuenca and Robinson. Now it's Berger and Reed in midfield, with Wilson, Smith Rowe and Kevin supporting Raul Jimenez, who's up front for Fulham. Trying to control the ball on the far side was Livramento, and he puts it out of play. I'm going to assume it's an injury issue for Lukic, although he was booked as well, wasn't he? So maybe it's safety first for Marco Silva, but he was exceptional in the first half.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he'll be a miss in his second half. There's no question about that. I just wonder whether Fulham have tinkered it a little bit. Reed's going to come into that midfield area, and he's ever present. He works his socks off, doesn't he? I was just looking at Newcastle as well, and when they have the ball, Lewis Miley, albeit he's been playing as a right back, just seen him drifting in towards that midfield area. Maybe he's playing that inverted fullback now for Newcastle, but I suppose as this second half goes on, we'll find out more.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because Livramento seems to want to play that role too. Yeah. So they do end up a little bit light in both full-back areas, that's for sure. Reed actually had started all 3 games in this League Cup run that Fulham have had this season. Now he's only starts of the campaign, and now he's on as a substitute. Here's Miley down this right-hand side, giving it short to Willock, just down in front of the Newcastle United dugout, where Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall are deep in conversation at the start of this second half. As there's a foul on halfway, Reed immediately getting involved in the game. He's getting a talking to here from Darren England for that foul on, I think it was Murphy that's been fouled on this. No, I think it may be, it's the orange boots again. Is it? It's not Miley, because he's
Ramsey
on that far side. It's Ramsey this time. Too many orange pairs of boots.
Yeah, there is. But it's a nasty challenge, isn't it? In from behind Reed, and you could see the referee Darren England going straight over to Harrison Reed just to say, look, that's your first one. I know you've just came onto the pitch. Your next one, the card is coming out for you.
Yeah, may end up missing that semi-final if he does get booked. Well, I don't know what's going on in Scotland, but it's now Dundee United 2, Celtic 1. I mean, extraordinary. If you were listening to Talksport on Monday morning, listening to Martin O'Neill talking about this handover with the new Celtic boss, Wilfred Nancy, that turned into more of a 15-minute, hi, how are you, nice to see you, goodbye. Which, Martin had allowed time to spend some time walking through the squad and the players and the results they've had, but not required, I think was the call. And, well, let's say the results haven't gone that well since losing that cup final at the weekend as well. Here come Newcastle on the attack. Bruno Guimaraes gets the ball into Miley inside the penalty area. Just putting it back was Livramento, but it's taken off his toes. Raul Jimenez just trying to do that centre-forward work midway inside his own half, in fact. And the challenge in the end from Chow meant that he went down, and it is a free kick for Fulham, which Anderson's trying to take quickly. Wissa's in the way, and the referee has just said, well, do you know what? Play on, even though it's not quite gone Fulham's way.
Yeah, a bit bizarre that, wasn't it? Because Bruno Guimaraes was in front of the ball and Raul Jimenez was trying to play it quickly. He got away with that one. But Johan Wissa then dropped into the position just in front of the ball.
As they come down this left-hand side to Fulham, Kevin in the corner flag against Miley. Miley's giving it away. Robinson's got there first, holds the ball up nicely, gives it then to Kevin. Kevin feeds it out again to Smith Rowe on this left-hand side, into Sander Berger, 30 yards out from goal. Here's Anderson. It's good shifting of play this from Fulham down the right-hand side. It's Tete towards the edge of the penalty area. Berger's there once more. Now it's Harry Wilson on that far side. Slips the pass into Reed, who's made the run towards the byline. Back to Wilson again on that far side. Not really got him into positions where he's going to affect the game so far. Wilson, this time with his left-footed ball that he swings in. Oh! Well, it looked like Chow went for the header, left it. Ramsdale was leaving it, and then suddenly, in mass panic, made a charge towards it, thinking it may be scraping in at this near post, but in the end it goes wide for a goal kick.
Yeah, and I think Ramsdale's quite fortunate, because you're told as a goalkeeper, when that ball comes into the area, follow the ball, not the player who's going to get his head on the end of it. That's up to the defender. And he started shuffling across to his right-hand side. I think he was relieved.
Stayed in a semi-final back in 2022, did Aaron Ramsdale, when he was at Arsenal, and it was a defeat against Liverpool on that occasion. 6 games in a row now he's started for Newcastle United, having been biding his time on loan, of course, from Southampton, who palmed him out when they got relegated. And now it's Chow on this right-hand side. He's, so far though, only kept one clean sheet. So he's not having his best of times between the sticks. In fact, clean sheets have been hard to come by here. Game against Sunderland was the first time actually in 19 that Newcastle United had failed to score in all competitions. So they've been on a terrific run till that dreadful performance on Sunday afternoon. Not too far away from here, of course. And anyone who tries to say they didn't really understand the magnitude of the game, it's the same set of players that had their photo done on the pitch at the Stadium of Light 2 years ago when they met in a cup competition. So I don't think any of that's going to wash, really. Here's Chow under pressure from Jimenez, who's really trying to put it on him, and then in the end Chow has to make the pass, and the former Inter Milan player, oh, there's a foul there actually off the ball. That time between Murphy and I think it's Cuenca, and Taron England just saying to Cuenca, I'm watching you, but doesn't give the foul.
Yeah, look, I've seen a replay of it there, Adam. Look, there's a little bit of a shove, but I think Jacob Murphy knows better than that, just to stay on his feet.
He's gone down again this time under the challenge from Robinson, but as Robinson gets the ball away to his goalkeeper, Lecomte will clear, and that's not been one of his strongest points of the night. He finds the head of Livramento on that far side, and then he's dropped in short to Ramsey, and Gimenez is almost playing the quarterback role as he finds Chow, and then on this right-hand side, Miley, who continues his run, but the pass back in from Murphy was ahead of him, and it's controlled once more by Chow, 10 yards inside his own half. Short to Miley. Miley then just turns. He finds Murphy on this right-hand side. Forced back by Robinson. And now again it's Chow. Into the feet of Gimenez. Left-hand side, waiting is Livramento. Helps it on its way on that far touchline to where Harvey Barnes picks the ball up. Back inside his own half, keeping the ball well there. 7.5 minutes gone on Talksport 2 in the second half. It remains Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Half cleared on that far side by Tete. And now it's away once more with a bit more gusto by Anderson up to halfway. But again, it's almost like desperate clearances. They're just pumping the ball from the edge of their own penalty area, and time again they're finding a Newcastle player, and it's come to Barnes now, edge of the box, left hand side, has the support from Livramento, who tries to cross and wins Newcastle the corner.
Yeah, a little bit more urgency in that move forward there for Newcastle, which we haven't really had since the players came out for the second half. Get themselves into a better area. I love to see that overlap and run, albeit Livramento to trying to put the ball into the area of his weaker left foot. That's what you need. You need players trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck and make the difference.
Well, we said it the first half, there needed to be a bit more movement, a little bit more down that left-hand side on that occasion. Bruno Gimenez is going to deliver this one in from that far side. So this one's going to be a right footer. It's in swinging. Willock's in the 6-yard box, so is Miley, and I think there's words to be had at the back post where there are 3 Newcastle players. Cher, Wissa and Chow are all at the back post. There's only one Fulham defender who's trying to take care of them, and I think that's Tete. This could be interesting. Clearly something planned here for Newcastle United. Gimenez does go deep towards that back post, and Raul Jimenez is there to head it away, and then it's helped on his way by Kevin, and up in the air by Murphy. Well, that's gone more left than forward, and it's Harrison Reed will win the first header, and then Kevin's going to try and get there before Livramento. Livramento does brilliantly though, a little cushion header, and then follows it up and keeps the ball nicely. Clips ball forward to Wissa, who's I think going to be flagged as offside. He is, and that will be a free kick for Fulham at the edge of their own penalty area.
Well, it's that final ball again, isn't it, from Bruno Guimaraes. Been a little bit sloppy at times tonight, and he's a player I love watching as well. You know, he wears that shirt with pride, but giving the ball away a couple of times in the first half, and that diagonal pass there, it's behind Johan Wissa. Nothing for him to go and run on to. Kind of sums up the second half so far that we've seen so far, Adam. It's been a little bit scrappy.
There's a problem here for Raul Jimenez on this right-hand side. Looks like he's been winded. It is a free kick for Fulham, so he's got time to get the treatment. There's 1,700 Fulham supporters who are away to our left-hand side, up in the corner of the top tier as ever. Probably one of the best views you can get, but I think I need oxygen when I got to the top, if we're going to be honest.
And binoculars.
And binoculars too, yeah. And now they're leaving it for the referee, and I think to get involved here, because the goalkeeper's going to take this free kick. Darren England is stepping forward to Joachim Andersen, the Fulham captain, to have a word and say, look, the time wasted is not acceptable. Bruno Guimaraes arrives as well, and it's Cuenca as well who's getting spoken to, because he was the player who looked to be shaping to take the free kick and then suddenly left it for the goalkeeper.
Well, Darren England has done the wrong thing by blowing his whistle and just expecting Cuenca to take the free kick, but as he turned his head, he went forward. The goalkeeper then came out, Lecomte, and you can hear the Newcastle supporters. They want this game, they want everybody to get on with the game, and it's a bit stop-start at the moment.
And it is cleared away by Lecomte onto that far side, and again it's a Newcastle ball after one of his clearances. It's Ramsey who's harried and hassled by Reed that time. A little bit more physical in that midfield now with Reed's presence. Ball clipped forward here. Willock's trying to get there first. Robinson will just do a cushioned header into the path of Sander Berger, who then manages to find Smith Rowe down the left-hand side. Kevin's on the charge. He's got Robinson outside of him. Robinson in space here to deliver a ball, which he does, and it's headed up into the air by Chow, and it comes down towards the edge of the penalty area. And now it's out wide on this left-hand side again for Robinson, who swings it towards the back post. Ramsdale is confident and strong this time and gathers at the edge of his 6-yard area.
Well, what a run from Anthony Robinson. He was nowhere to be seen when Fulham were on the break there, but that overlap and run, and when he was laid in, his first ball actually into the area is a very good one, but just looking for one of his teammates to get on the end of it. I love to see that from the full-back, and he's been excellent tonight, Robinson.
57 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Down this right-hand side. Right-footed ball by Murphy. It's excellent, and it's taken by Anderson, and it needed to be, because Wissa was coming in. It's an important deflection from the Fulham captain. How can they make more of it, though? Here's Barnes towards the edge of the penalty area. Guimaraes is there, out wide to the left-hand side. Picked up once more by Livramento. And now to the edge of the penalty area. Livramento's now inside the box. Barnes clips it towards the back post, looking for Murphy again, and the touch comes from Robinson, and it's almost come down to Miley, who hooks it again across the penalty area, headed away by Harrison Reed, as we welcome listeners to Talksport who join us at St James's Park, where we have 58 minutes on the clock. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1 in this second half, and it's Newcastle on the attack right now, away to our right-hand side, attacking the Gallagate end in those usual black and white striped shirts, black shorts and black socks, but it's picked out by Robinson at the edge of the penalty area. Fulham all in green, and now they've got more defending to do here, because it's Murphy on this near side who's put some lovely balls in from the right-hand side so far for Newcastle. On to Livramento. Barnes inside the box, goes outside to the byline, drills it across, and it's turned behind by Lecomte for Newcastle United corner. Mickey Gray.
Best move of the second half coming from Newcastle. They're patient in the build-up play. When it comes to Harvey Barnes, puts a very good ball into the area, skids it across that 6-yard area, and Lecomte has to be there just to parry it away from his goal, and more pressure coming from the home side now, trying to get themselves in front in this tie.
Barnes, one of these starting 11 in that final last season, of course, at Wembley against Liverpool. Corner on that far side then for Newcastle United. Right-footed. Miley swings it in, and he came for it. Lecomte couldn't get there. There was bodies all around him, and it's headed away from the edge of the 6-yard area, that time by Cuenca. And now on this near side, Kevin will find Raul Jimenez, and Wilson's away down the middle. Smith Rowe's there as well if he can find him. Brilliant run by Wilson. Smith Rowe, far edge of the penalty area. Wilson tries to lay the ball across with his left foot towards him. Too much on it, and Smith Rowe is just forced out towards the corner flag. Comes back to the half-time substitute, Harrison Reed. Now short to Sander Berger. Across to Robinson. Robinson from about 30 yards out. He's been excellent down this left-hand side into the feet of Harry Wilson. Not the best of touches, and Bruno Guimaraes was across to cover it. But they've run it back again here, and now there's a potential head injury here, and the referee is going to stop play because Willock is holding his head, and it's one that the physios will immediately come on to deal with. And Darren England, despite the fact that Fulham were in a fairly menacing position, calls play to a halt.
Well, we've had 2 minutes where it looked like Newcastle were in the ascendancy, and it just put that wonderful corner into right down the throat of the goalkeeper, Lecomte, and he had to be there to clear his lines on 2 or 3 occasions. Fulham defenders just getting themselves in the way, but moments after that, because Newcastle have committed so many players forward, it was Harry Wilson, wasn't it? His first, just didn't quite get it out of his feet. You could see a couple of runs in front of him, but he couldn't get it in beyond Newcastle's backline. But the game in his second half now starting to open up a little bit. Two sides really going for the win.
Well, in the old days they used to have that excuse, didn't they? If someone had a black eye, it was that they'd walked into a door. Well, I think there Willock definitely walked into the fist of Anthony Robinson. There was no intent. It was just a moment where the right hand of Robinson has very much caused Willock, not quite flush on the jaw, but nonetheless he's down and needing some treatment with 29 minutes to go here.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's going to be okay, but I think as soon as the referee sees a player's holding a hand to his head, Adam, I think he has to stop the game. And it's a shame, isn't it, because Fulham were in the flow, as you mentioned there before. They had bodies forward, they were on the ascendancy, and they've got to keep trying because they've had joy tonight. It's been a little bit sloppy this second half. Both sets of players giving the ball away in strange areas. But it just takes that one bit of brilliance in the second half and you could see yourself going through to the semi-finals.
Remember as well, if we are all square at full time of 90 minutes, it's straight to penalties to find out who's heading to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. And both of these sides have got fairly decent records of late in shootouts. Fulham have won 4 of their last 5 in all competitions. 3 of the last 5 have gone Newcastle United's way, but we are still a little way off of that. Plenty of time for either of these sides to score a winning goal. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1, as that ball is slipped quickly down this left-hand side by Robinson. Smith rows after it, but it's well shepherded by Malik Chow, who of course came from Milan, £34 million for the former Schalke man. And the ball's out of play, and Ramsdale will have a chance to clear away to our left-hand side. We've, of course, got Newcastle United in action again this Saturday lunchtime. Our game day exclusive comes from here at St James's Park again. Chelsea are the visitors. They could do with a result as well, of course, despite their victory last night in the Carabao Cup quarter-finals. They'll be in the draw, which happens after we are done here tonight. Manchester City also in that draw too, and we'll find out whether it's Arsenal or Crystal Palace joining them live on Talksport early next week, of course. Now down this left-hand side, Cuenca in the starting line-up tonight because of the departure of Bassi. Although he has started all 4 League Cup games so far this campaign, the 26-year-old Spaniard. But Bassi away with AFCON, of course, one of 3 players missing for Fulham tonight who have gone away with Nigeria. And some big figures in their side, but at the moment they're still doing enough to hold Newcastle United, the holders of the Carabao Cup here at St James's Park. How to play for a throw on this near side for Newcastle.
Coming up to that point, Adam, nearly 63 minutes on the clock, and Johan Visser, who we touched on at the beginning of this game, how long has he got left in his legs? He's still running around, but does he need to make a couple of changes, Eddie Howe?
Well, he's got Voltemada, he's got Gordon, of course, on the bench. He's got Alanga potentially to come as well. There is strength there for Eddie Howe, should he want to use it tonight, with that Chelsea game in mind, of course, early on Saturday lunchtime, live on Talksport. Here's Miley out wide to this right-hand side. Murphy is level with the edge of the penalty area, just floats the ball towards the back post, and Harry Wilson is back doing the defending. He's dangerous up the other end, and there he had crucial work to do for Marco Silva's side. Here's Ramsey, edge of the penalty area, left-hand side. It's been a real stop-start for him since he joined Newcastle from Aston Villa in the summer. Here's Chow, giving it short to Miley. In towards Willock, who's got his back to goal, and he's forced towards Miley once more. And now in towards the feet of Bruno Guimaraes, who's 5 or 6 yards outside the penalty area. Lovely ball, finds Murphy, he's offside. The ball is put in the back of the net, but the offside flag was already up. It would have been an Anderson own goal, but the flag on this near side was already raised. There is no VAR, and it will be a free kick to Fulham.
Well, linesman had his flag up very, very early, didn't he, when Bruno Guimaraes got himself on that half turn. Lovely little reverse pass again in between the centre half and full back, but it's the right call. He is offside. The ball does end up in Fulham's net, but it's never going to count.
Yeah, a tidy little finish from Anderson, to be fair, who was facing the wrong way, but the flag already raised. 25 minutes remaining. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. All Newcastle at the moment in attacking sense. Here's Harvey Barnes, always a dangerous position for him. There's Livramento, and it's straight this time at Benjamin Lecomte.
When you see a replay of this, Adam, Livramento has to cross that ball with his left foot because he's playing as a left back. He's tried to play the ball across the 6-yard area with his right foot, which is always going to curl towards the goalkeeper. with his left foot, he can pull it back towards the penalty spot, and it's going to be a better chance for Newcastle.
Quick counter-attack here from Fulham. Sander Berge to Smith Rowe. He's got Kevin outside him on this near side. Just looking to take on Murphy, who's back doing defending. In fact, everyone is back for Newcastle United. We're about the midway point of their own half, including Wissa, who's up top. There's a long conversation going on down below for Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall as Smith Rowe makes a run to the edge of the penalty area, but he fires a very tame shot straight into the midriff of Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, it's a very good opportunity for Smith Rowe. Finds himself in acres of space, 22, 23 yards out. He's got to try and find one of them corners. It's right down the barrel of Aaron Ramsdale eventually. But it has to go down as probably Fulham's best chance of the second half.
Fabian Scher's ball forward there was trying to find Harvey Barnes down that left-hand side, but although the rain has ceased here now, it's a very wet playing surface and the ball just skidded on a bit too much for Barnes on that far side. It's a throw-in from midway inside their own half here for Fulham, and it's nodded down into the middle of the park where it's picked up on that far side by Reed up towards halfway. And now an opportunity for Wilson on his left foot, gets it into Kevin. Kevin's 25 yards out from goal, just tries to spin and turn, does brilliantly. Robinson down this left-hand side, early ball across, touchdown by Smith Rowe, almost into the path of Wilson, but Gimaresh is back defending, and it's out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side for Newcastle United. A word from Mickey in a moment, but let's get a Women's Champions League update from Angelina Kelly.
It is still Wolfsburg 1, Chelsea 2. A worrying moment for Chelsea fans, though, as Kira Walsh motioned to be taken off the pitch. She hobbled with what looked like a calf injury as Vika Captain replaced her. Chelsea do have the winter break now, so hopefully, if it is serious, she'll have time to recover. Elsewhere, Arsenal still lead 3-0. Mariana Caldente, she has sat down off the ball and looks uncomfortable and has also had to be replaced by Emily Fox. Chelsea still in third and headed for a quarter-final place. Arsenal and Man United both still leading and are in playoff places.
Thanks, Angelina. Midway point of the second half here. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Another good move from Fulham, Mickey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're ticking at the moment. Smith Rowe was who had the opportunity from Robinson's cross again down this left-hand side.
Here they come, Newcastle on the counter, though, with Willock down this right-hand side. He's had a fairly quiet game so far. Gives the ball into Miley towards the edge of the penalty area. Miley up from his right-back berth where he is tonight. Gimaresh tries to put Murphy in. Murphy cuts that one back towards Willock at the edge of the 6-yard box on the right-hand side. Good intervention from Wilson that time. Now Gimaresh again, near side of the field. Just tries to go past Smith Rowe. Has the support of Chap. Then goes to the left-hand side where Scher is waiting. And we see Harvey Barnes has pulled out on that far side into space. Livramento's going on the overlap. Barnes instead comes infield to Gimaresh. Livramento is still available if he wants him, but Gimaresh instead comes back all the way to Scher. And he will now drive forward down that left-hand touchline into the feet of Barnes. Dangerous position for Barnes, 25 yards out. Clips the ball on this near side to Willock. And it's too far in front of Willock. And out of play for what will be a goal kick away to our right-hand side to Fulham. A reminder, up in Scotland, into the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game in the Scottish Premiership. Dundee United 2, Celtic 1. Celtic in real trouble again tonight in their attempts to defend that league title. And Wilfred Nancy is not having a good time of it. Here away to our right, Fulham playing out short from the back. Reed, who came on at half-time for Sasa Lukic, the goal scorer for Fulham, who scored earlier on in the season here in the Premier League game, in which Newcastle were victorious by 2-1. And again, this time, Smith Rowe can't get to that pass from Jimenez, so Newcastle win it back, and they're in Fulham territory. Willock just skips away from Smith Rowe. Little handoff, clips a lovely ball over the top. Whistles there, but it's a foot in the air from Cuenca and then headed away at the edge of the penalty area by Berger. Almost comes down towards Gimaresh, who gets a little flick header on. Now Raul Jimenez tries to get it away on that far side to find Wilson, but once more, black and white shirts are swarming everywhere and they pick up possession. Nick Voltemada is ready to come on, you would assume, for Johan Wissa, given the fact that he's starting his first game of the season tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it'd be very difficult for Johan Wissa to play the full 90 minutes, but he's came tonight, he's got his goal, he's given everything that he possibly could, but I think he's kind of running on empty right now.
You're listening to the Carabao Cup on Talksport and Talksport 2. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Left-footed ball swung across here for Newcastle. It's a decent ball in that time from Barnes on that far side, and it's headed away quite comfortably in the end for Fulham, and will come to the feet once more of Benjamin Lecomte, who's playing in all the League Cup ties this season for Fulham, and he'll gather the ball away to our right-hand side. Into the final 20 minutes then, we're going to see Tonali and Voltemada about to enter the fray for Newcastle United. Defending champions, of course, the holders of the Carabao Cup, after all those years of pain and suffering and hurt as well, and they'd like to keep it, and so far the campaign has been going well, hence why we're at the quarter-final stage. Only had to play 2 games, of course, because of their European involvement as well. That does help. Is Livramento on that far side, just slips as he gets by the corner flag, and it allowed the ball to be won back by Kenny Tete, and Tete now has just got caught right by the corner flag. Brilliant work from Harvey Barnes to put the pressure on, and that's more like it from Newcastle to have a throw.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Tete didn't really make his mind up what he wanted to do when that ball fell to his feet. You know, are you going to clear your lines? How am I going to try and play out from the back? And he got neither right, because he's just cleared the ball out for a Newcastle throw, which has given him the opportunity to maybe change things up. Voltemada coming on alongside Tonali to give him that little bit more energy and guile in midfield. But I think you will see Newcastle now starting to play a different style, because they're not going to have that centre forward who's going to run in behind you now. So it's important that the full-backs and the wide players start to provide that service for Voltemada to get Newcastle that second goal, that all-important second goal. Let's see how they do.
Tonali's on, Voltemada arrives. Scored a goal against Spurs in the last round here, and he's on, a towering figure, wearing number 27. Started the campaign incredibly well, of course, on his arrival. 5 goals in his first 5 appearances, but been a bit quieter since, as that ball's clipped in this time by Harvey Barnes, looking to try and find Chow, couldn't get there. And now the break is on with Robinson down this left-hand side. There's Kevin in the middle. Smith Rowe's there as well as he looks to take on Miley. He does, gets the cross away, and well, Ramsdale panicked for a moment as it just landed on the roof of the netting away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, another good run again from Anthony Robinson there. Just couldn't quite wrap his left foot around it, could he? Which was unfortunate, because you know it's a long burst and run, 70-80 yards up the left-hand side. But he did make Ramsdale panic a little bit in that Newcastle goal. I'll just go back to Adam. What a nice reception that was for Voltemada. Obviously, we all know what happened at the weekend. He scored the own goal, but I think when he did come onto the pitch, everybody kind of cheered for their centre-forward. Nice touch.
Double change for Fulham. Smith Rowe is departing, and Josh King is coming off. Coming on, should I say, for Smith Rowe. And the other change, we'll see the end of the night for Kevin. Another performance from Kevin that's probably flattered deceive a little bit as Adama Traore comes on.
I would definitely say that. You know, he needs to improve his end product. He needs to score more goals for Fulham, and when you get big chances like he had, let's not forget in that first half, 2 very good chances in the game. He certainly has to do better with him, Kevin. And this is a big chance for him as well to stamp his authority over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
And this is a big problem for Newcastle. Livramento is down receiving some treatment away to our left-hand side, a couple of yards outside the penalty area. Just a quick word on Adama Traore. Actually made his debut in this competition back in 2015. That's when he was at Aston Villa and scored on his debut as well. It was his debut for the club too as well. Treatment continuing for Livramento. Mind some of the live football coming up across the Talksport network in the coming days. Tomorrow night, Crystal Palace in that Conference League tie against Cups. That's live on Talksport 2 from 8 o'clock. Friday night, it's a Welsh derby. South versus North. Swansea against Wrexham. Again on Talksport 2 from 8 o'clock. Saturday, as I mentioned, we're here for Game Day exclusive, our exclusive Premier League commentary. 12:30 is Newcastle against Chelsea. Over on Talksport 2, it's Southampton against Coventry. That's in the Championship before we have Game Day live with Adrian Durham, Troy Deeney and Scott Minto taking you round the grounds. Bristol City against Middlesbrough is live in the Championship on Talksport 2. And then double bonus for you Saturday night, Everton against Arsenal, exclusively live in the Premier League, and Leeds against Crystal Palace. What you have to remember, whenever there's a game on a Saturday night or a Friday night in the Premier League, you will hear it right here across the Talksport network, and take that for Monday night as well, when Fulham are in action against Nottingham Forest on Talksport. So Livramento's gone off. Listen to the noise and appreciation for Livramento. Murphy's on, but this is just more woes for Eddie Howe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Another defender having to come off the pitch. I don't know what injury or if he's picked up a muscle strain because he's had to play so much of late. So no doubt about it, I'm going to keep touching on how much Eddie Howe expects from his players. He runs them into the ground. It's not a bad thing, but when he's picking up so many injuries right now, he's going to have to maybe have a look at some of his players and wrap them up in cotton wool.
Options fairly limited at the moment, aren't they, with all those defensive injuries they've got? I mean, if you think of the likes of Emil Kraft, Sven Botman, obviously Dan Burns been added to the list now as well. Kieran Trippier's missing. Obviously they're missing the goalkeeper, Nick Pope, as well. So there's John Ruddy's on the bench today. I mean, there's a guy 39, he's been here a season and a half. He's not made an appearance yet and actually made his debut in this competition for Cambridge against Watford. That was back in 2004, so 21 years ago. And that's where things are at for Eddie Howe right now. So earlier on we're discussing the issues and how the fans feel. I do have a modicum of sympathy for him, but not too much. Robinson on this near side, clips ball forward. Traore now ploughing the furrow down this left-hand touchline. The very impressive Josh King in there to try and win it back. Now Traore's on a charge, but he's stopped in his tracks by Willock and by Tonali. And here come Newcastle United. Tonali over halfway on this near touchline. He's got two green shirts around him, tries to get the better of Sander Berger, and the assistant on this near side waves his finger to Darren England, the referee, and says, nope, there is no foul to be seen here.
Well, Tonali's done brilliantly to win the ball back. And then he starts to run at the back line of Fulham and has a look up. And I just wonder why he stopped, Adam. He had the chance, he had grass in front of him. Just keep going into it. We know he's got very good pace, he's got brilliant energy, he's fresh, he just came on. But when he stopped, he gave Fulham players the chance to get back, win the ball off them. Maybe, I don't know, a lack of confidence over the last couple of weeks, something like that.
Throw down this near side for Robinson to take. He's got Marco Silva right next to him. Tate in with the fourth official. There's a shove in the back there on Raul Jimenez. No, says the referee. Newcastle play it forward, trying to find Barnes down that left-hand side. You're listening to the Carabao Cup quarter-finals on Talksport. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1. On that far touchline, they take the throw quickly to Newcastle. They're on the attack towards the Gallagate end, away to our right-hand side. Oh, lovely ball slipped down the side for Bruno Guimaraes, who tries to play it in early. I think he was hoping then that the deflection off Sander Berger may have delivered him a corner, but it didn't. And in the end, Miley looks so young and fresh-faced, the age of 19, just gets the better this time of Josh King, who, of course, is only 18 himself. It's a young man's game now, Mickey Gray.
Yes, which is why I'm sat next to you, Ryan.
Down this right-hand side, here's Murphy. Chance to deliver. Oh, cuts inside this time. Now he goes. Lovely swinging ball, but just too close to Lecompton. There was no one in attacking it. Not really the kind of ball that Voltemada's going to be making a run for.
No, it was an instinct cross, wasn't it? Waiting for a centre forward. Maybe he's not expecting that ball to come in the area at that specific time. I think you've got to try and give them some indication of when you are going to cross the ball. But Voltemada, I said before, he hasn't got the pace to run in behind to get onto those type of crosses.
Newcastle want a handball from Raul Jimenez in the middle of the Fulham half. The referee not interested, and in the end it's just a throw for Newcastle on that far side. Fulham very much trying to play on the counter here. All the possession is Newcastle's for sure. Maybe that's something that Newcastle aren't that comfortable with, because they have been known for scoring lots of goals on fast breaks. Not too many this season, because the press doesn't seem to be as intense and as high as it has been in previous seasons for Newcastle United. Tonali's given the ball away to the feet of Harry Wilson. If there's anyone in English football right now you don't want to give the ball away to, it's probably Harry Wilson. But they have won it back. Guimaraes into Murphy. Tonali going out wide on this right-hand side. Here's Murphy. Swings another ball in. It just skips away that time from Lecompton out of play. And it'll be a goal kick for Fulham away to our right-hand side. 10.5 minutes remaining. It has finished in Scotland. Dundee United 2, Celtic 1. It leaves Celtic 6 points behind Hearts at the top of the table. A reminder, the World Darts Championship continues at Ali Pali. Let's get the latest from Mark Wilson.
Yeah, routine win for James Wade. The machine beats Ryusuke Asamoto by 3-0. Drops only one leg in the process. He'll play Ricky Evans. Last game of the night sees Martin Schindler, the German, take on Stephen Burton, who must win to keep his tour card alive. It's on the Talksport Darts YouTube channel and the Talksport app right now.
The days continuing to mount up. Was it day 7, I think, maybe, tonight? Day 7 at the World Darts Championship. Plenty to go. Of course, taking you through to the other side of Christmas live on Talksport 2 throughout the Talksport app and via that Darts YouTube page, all the way through to the final. Will Luke Littler defend his title? Will Newcastle defend theirs? That's the question. They've got 9.5 minutes to find a goal here to progress through to the semi-final. I think we're obviously going to get a fair old bit of time added on at the end of this, Mickey.
Yeah, you would think so. You can hear the Newcastle supporters are trying to urge their team on to try and get this second goal, but at the moment it doesn't really look like coming. Voldemar just came onto the pitch and Murphy's put two pretty decent balls into the area, but whether he's still a little bit cold, he's just not read the situation, the striker.
As Josh King is fouled on halfway. He played the advantage initially down in England, gave him the chance to try and advance, then pulled it back, much to the disgust of the Newcastle players. That's come down to King at the edge of the penalty area. Here's Adama Traore, that little burst of pace down that left-hand side from him. We see the pace is always so good, the quality of the distribution at times not so, and on this occasion he's been dispossessed by Miley, who then gives the ball away at the edge of the penalty area to King. Here's Robinson on his left foot, teeing it up towards the edge of the box for Tete, who's then forced to go backwards. He's caught late by Voltemada, and that will be another free kick and a yellow card for Nick Voltemada, who's not been on the field for long, but it is a free kick for Fulham. Didn't need to make the challenge, he was going away from goal, and this is it's probably about 35 yards out, right in the centre.
It's one of those where he goes for the ball. We've seen this over the last couple of weeks, haven't we, had him on 2 or 3 occasions. But when you don't make contact with the ball and then the Fulham defender gets his foot underneath the ball, you stand on top of his foot, it probably looks worse than it is. There's no intent in it. But you're right, he's been given a yellow card, and this is a dangerous position with the quality that Fulham have got standing over it, and Harry Wilson to put in a nasty little ball just in behind this back line in Newcastle.
It was a bit of a centre-forwards challenge, really, wasn't it, from Voltemada. 7.5 minutes to go here at St James's Park. You listen to Talksport. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Harry Wilson, left-footed, pings it towards that far side. Anderson's going to try and win the header, which he does towards Coenca, and it's put behind and out of play for a corner on that right-hand side.
Well worked, wasn't it, from Harry Wilson and Joachim Anderson, just drifting off round that back post. He did actually win his header and get it back into that 6-yard area, and that's where Newcastle had to be on their toes. This is a bit of pressure for the away team.
They've scored 4 goals from corners in their last 3 games, have Fulham. Anthony Gordon is ready to come on just down below us here in our fairly low commentary position at St James's Park, just behind the dugouts. Alanga as well. So the big guns are all coming out for Newcastle United for this final 7 minutes or so. Left-footed, Wilson towards the back post. Traore's there, he knocks it down into the danger zone, and it has to be cleared away by Fabian Schär from the edge of the 6-yard box. It's only as far as Robinson in the centre circle. Clips a lovely weighted ball towards Wilson, but it's a good header away on that far side by the substitute Alex Murphy. Second sub appearance of the season for him. And on that far side it will be a throw to Newcastle United. And here come Gordon and Alanga, Mickey.
Well, they're pressing it up. 2 players that started at the weekend, maybe coming on for the final 10 minutes of this game to prove a point to the manager that the weekend was just an off day for them. Or does Eddie Howe bring these 2 players on thinking that we're going to go to penalties, and he maybe thinks Anthony Gordon and Alanga might be one of the top 5. They're going to put the ball on the penalty spot and take those penalties for Newcastle. You don't know, but there's still time for them to make an impact, no doubt.
6 minutes plus added time. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. It's all over in the Women's Champions League. Here's Angelina Kelly.
Chelsea finished 3rd in the league phase table, meaning they will go directly into the quarter-finals. Arsenal and Manchester United finish in 5th and 6th place, meaning they will have to win 2-legged playoff games in order to join the Blues. Chelsea managed a 2-1 victory over Wolfsburg, thanks to goals from Lucy Bronze and Sam Kerr. Arsenal beat OH Leuven 3-0 with goals from Olivia Smith, Beth Mead and an own goal from Sar Janssen. And Manchester United managed a 1-0 win over Juventus with Jess Park on the score sheet. The draw for Arsenal and Man United's playoff games will take place tomorrow at 12 noon. One will play Leuven, the other will play Atletico Madrid, and depending how that goes, there's a chance they could actually meet Chelsea in the quarter-finals.
Thanks, Angelina. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. Free kick here for Newcastle, foul on Ramsey by Harry Wilson. Guimaraes, right-footed, floats a ball into the penalty area. Cher goes up to try and win the header. He scored so many great goals for Newcastle in his time, but not on this occasion, and it's safely back courtesy of Alex Murphy all the way to Ramsdale, and it'll be Ramsdale from the edge of his penalty area that looked to build something again for Newcastle United. We could be heading to penalties here at St James's Park. Left hand side, Cher's there. Ramsdale is saying I want options to get it forward, but not impressed by the lack of movement up ahead of him.
Absolutely not. Anthony Elanga, I think he was looking at.
Here's Tonali trying to clip a ball round the corner to Elanga, appeals for handball. Darren England goes against 52,000 people inside St James's Park, who all think it was more than the chest of Anthony Robinson, but they've got it. Lovely turn by Voltemade, midway inside the Fulham half. Gives it to Miley down this right-hand side. Elanga now, ball at feet, helps it on to Miley towards the byline. Across comes Traore, he's gone early with a sliding challenge, probably didn't need to. Elanga whips the cross over, and it's Anderson who just hacks it up in the air. Could have gone anywhere, and it finds the head of Robinson. Comes down to Chow, Malik Chow at the edge of the penalty area. Oh, Wilson's nipped that away on the far side. Now the counter's on for Fulham, and it's Harry Wilson. He's got Josh King alongside him in the middle, but that's all. And in the end, he clips the ball in towards King, headed down by Cher, and Tonali can clear up.
Well, Alex Murphy has just came onto the pitch for Newcastle. He's just helped them out no end by tracking back and getting in behind Harry Wilson, whose first touch to get out of his feet was absolutely outstanding.
Here's Tonali. It's turned into an end-to-end basketball game here. Here's Miley towards the edge of the penalty area. Tonali gets it back from him, works it to this near side towards Elanga, but the pass is poor from Elanga. It sets Newcastle onto the back foot and heads them back towards halfway again, where Chow and Cher will exchange passes and look to set the Magpies on their way again. 2.5 minutes or so remaining of normal time. There'll probably be 7 or 8, I would suggest, coming down that left-hand side. It's Voltemade, just by the corner flag, turns, keeping hold of the ball. Little pull of the shirt there on Voltemade, but he still has the ball to level with the edge of the penalty area, and it's once more with Cher. They're all camped in and around this Fulham box, away to our right-hand side. Everyone is back for Fulham, everyone in the attack apart from Ramsdale for Newcastle United. Here's Guimaraes. Gives it short to Elanga, coming infield. Yet to score for Newcastle, of course. Here's Miley, clips it to the back post, over the top of Voltemade. Gordon keeps it alive. Then Voltemade just heads it back out to Gordon again. Left edge of the box, on his right foot, was trying to get himself into a shooting position. Lost possession. Then Josh King loses it again. It's very bitty, but Newcastle, roared on by the faithful here at St James's Park, go again. Ramsey at the edge of the penalty area loses possession. It really was a tremendous tackle at that time, coming in from Cuenca, and it's up the far end. Ramsdale will just leave it for a throw-in on that far side for Newcastle United. 90 seconds to go.
I think Raul Jimenez wants penalties, Adam, because he had so much time in his own half and he's just got his laces through it and cleared the ball 70-80 yards up towards the Newcastle goal. And they've given everything, every ounce of energy tonight, the away side as well, just to keep in this game. It hasn't been the best second half. It's been a little bit sloppy at times. Still time, obviously, for that winner. But is it going to come before the full-time whistle?
Just over a minute of normal time to go. Remember, once we're done with the potential of penalties here, the sports bar's on. Jason Cundy and Jermaine Pennant with you tonight. 03717 223344. If you want to get your calls in, maybe you're a Brentford fan annoyed at the team selection tonight. Maybe you're a City fan who thinks you're going to reclaim your Carabao Cup that you seem to have had a hold of a few years back. Here's Elanga towards the edge of the penalty area for Newcastle United. They're the holders, and they've still got something to say about it. Although Josh King now charging away down this left-hand side for Fulham. Tonali is back, and he defends it excellently, the Italian, and gives it all the way back to Ramsdale again.
Brilliant from Sandro Tonali. Disappointed, obviously, to be left out tonight, but that's the attitude that you want to see from your players. Helping out, defending, just using his experience against an inexperienced Josh King, winning the ball back for his team.
On halfway, we are going to get 6 added minutes. And that's quite lenient. I thought we might get a few more than that, but Darren England and his adjudicating team say only 6 minutes tonight, and we're into it. and Newcastle supporters try to roar their side on towards that Gallagate end, down that left-hand side. They have it once more. They're going to try and Gordon on that far side was Miley. Couldn't find him. Guimaraes got two around him. Immediately gives it short to Ramsey on this near side. Here's Alanga. Down the line he goes. The ball is picked up on this near touchline by Ramsey again. Into Guimaraes inside the box. Drives it across. And the block there was from Anderson. And it had to be good as it comes in the penalty area to Baltamara. And then his shot, across by Miley. Low towards the corner. And it's a terrific save in the end from Lecomte.
Two brilliant saves. And it's Newcastle who are pressing for this winning goal. They're just keeping the ball alive. But Miley's shot in towards that bottom right-hand corner. And Lecomte is just stretched over to his right-hand side to tip it around the post.
Miley's first senior goal came against Fulham back in 2023. He almost had another, but it's a brilliant save from Lecomte. Here's the corner. Tonali swings it over. Flicked in! It's flicked in! And it's Lewis Miley this time! He peels away to celebrate. The Newcastle bench are out celebrating. And no surprise, in stoppage time, 19-year-old Lewis Miley, his third goal in 6 appearances. He got his first senior goal against Fulham, and now he's scored again for Newcastle United on a massive night that might just take them into back-to-back League Cup semi-finals. Newcastle United 2, Fulham 1.
Well, Marco Silva must be absolutely furious. This happened in the league game. They conceded a late second goal and lost to Newcastle, and it's happened again to Fulham. And it's a wonderful corner in from Tonali. The pressure was coming from Newcastle, but as he's whipped that ball into the area, Lewis Miley just gets in front of every Fulham defender, and any little contact, which he does get, rises above everybody and gets that glance, and it just drifts in over the top of everybody in a Fulham shirt into the back of the net. He's been asked to do a job tonight, Lewis Miley, in a right-back position where he's not been comfortable all night, but he's come up trumps in this game.
That is the first time this season that Newcastle have scored in stoppage time. They had conceded 6 goals in added time throughout the campaign in all competitions, but tonight, a stoppage time goal from Lewis Miley may well win them this game. Jonah, Kusi, Ansari is on loan from Bayern Munich. He's on for Fulham to add an extra presence up top in place of Sander Berger. There are still 3 minutes of added time at least to play here at St James's Park on Talksport. And it's now Newcastle 2, Fulham 1. It's out for a throw on this near side too. Fulham, midway inside the Newcastle half. Here's Adama Traore. Well, Sancho Tonali is setting up slowly. Oh, wait, come on, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, I thought you'd be up and after that one.
Trapped it, didn't I, straight away.
Ball's back in play. Never seen a ball quite come in that direction. It had the real Abbott boot from Tonali. Maybe he's been catching up with some old Peter Kay adverts. Down that right-hand side, here's Tete, clipping the ball into the penalty area. King was trying to peel off the goal scorer and potential hero, Lewis Miley, who appears to be in the form of his life with those 3 goals in his last 6 appearances. Near side, here's Traore. Lovely swinging ball to the far post. Ramsdale comes for it. And it's just what you need in those moments. A big, confident keeper who gathers at the edge of his 6-yard area.
Yeah, very good from Aaron Ramsdale. Just keeping his concentration. I don't think he'd be in too much of a rush to try and get this ball cleared out of his hands either. Just counting those seconds down now, hoping to get that full-time whistle.
Well, you can imagine in the old days he'd have dived on top of it, but he doesn't have that option nowadays with the referee counting his 8 seconds. And the last thing they want to do is concede a corner at this point in the game. Volley clear by Cher from deep inside his own half. Comes down to Tonali inside the centre circle. 90 seconds remaining. Tonali on the charge down the left-hand side. He's heading towards the corner flag. Don't worry, Fulham defence. He's going nowhere near the goal. He has just gone to the corner flag. And referee says play on. No foul. And Fulham have it. And they'll bring it clear on that far side. Left-footed ball over halfway. Powerful header from Cher back into the danger zone, and then claims that Tonali has stretched out an arm on Harrison Reed, and it will be a free kick for Fulham. We are in the last of 6 added minutes. Newcastle leading here on Talksport by 2-1.
And he needs to get back to his feet very quickly there, Harrison Reed.
The long ball over the top that time from the goalkeeper Lecomte, and it's safely into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale, and Chow will do a little bit of work there to deny Kusi Ansari, who was trying to put some pressure on the England goalkeeper. Fingers are in the air from Darren England as he counts down the 8 seconds into the last 30 of the prescribed added 6 minutes here. That's going to be headed back by Robinson safely into the arms of Lecomte, who can just kick it out immediately, and boy has he got a kick on him. It's towards the edge of the penalty area. Shares there, he'll nod it into touch on the far side. It's a throw in for Fulham, level with the penalty spot on that far side, the right hand side. And if ever you needed someone with a long throw, this is the moment for Fulham. And I think the best they've got to offer is Kenny Tete, who is taking his time to come forward, allowing Raul Jimenez to come inside the penalty area. This is really last chance saloon for Fulham and their hopes of reaching another League Cup semi-final and ending that 146-year drought for a trophy. Here's the throw from Tete. There's not enough power on that. Headed away comfortably that time by Alex Murphy. Edge of the penalty area, it's Josh King. Maybe he needs to try and get a shot away. He finds Tete. Tete's going to fire a shot, which he does, which is fizzes over the top of Aaron Ramsdale's crossbar and behind for a goal kick. And surely that's going to be it.
You would think so now, Adam, wouldn't you? But Kenny Tete had 2 options in his head there, whether to take a strike on from 30 yards out, or he had 4 players running in towards that 6-yard area where he could have put a dangerous ball into the area to hope that Fulham got the equalising goal. I think he chose the wrong option. It's a good strike. It's not too far over the top of the crossbar, but I think at this time of the game, keep the ball alive.
Ramsdale taking his time to spot it. We've had 7 added minutes. There were only 6 offered up by Darren England and his 4th official. Ramsdale takes his time, right-footed. We will play on. It's deep inside the Fulham half. It's bouncing once, twice. Lecomte gathers it. Another chance maybe for one of his long kicks. Instead he bowls it out short on that right-hand side. Here's the captain of Fulham, Anderson, launches it forward, and Darren England puts his whistle to his lips, and the holders are through, and they're into the semi-final. And it's all thanks to Lewis Miley. It was his 6th League Cup appearance tonight. He's never lost when he's played in the League Cup, and that record continues. A stoppage time header, his 2nd goal against Fulham, and his 3rd goal in 6 appearances this season, has seen Newcastle United through. Well, it wasn't quite the performance probably in the response they wanted after the defeat against Sunderland at the weekend, but they've got the job done. First half goal from Wissa on his first start for the club, cancelled out by Sasa Lukic in the midway through the first half, and then in stoppage time at the end of this game, it's Miley who brings out the smiles for the Newcastle United fans. They're into the semi-final once again, and the chance to maybe retain this trophy is still alive. Full time at St James's Park. It's bouncing here for Newcastle United 2, Fulham 1.
And the Newcastle fans will be celebrating in the big market tonight, no doubt about it. Jermaine Pennant and Jason Cundy want your calls on the sports bar. City are through, Newcastle are through to the semi-finals. 03717 223344, and they really want to hear from Celtic fans as well. Celtic lost again. They're in crisis, there's no doubt about it. It's 4 defeats in a row. They lost to title rivals Hearts, they lost in Europe, they lost a cup final to St Mirren, which is like achieving the impossible, and tonight they led but lost at Dundee United, who get their first win in 8. Can a manager of one of the biggest clubs in the world be sacked after just 4 games? 03717 223344. But another night of celebration in the Carabao Cup for Newcastle United. But Mickey Gray, they left it very, very late, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did, Adrian, and I don't think when we came into that second half that either side could have maybe turned around and said we deserve to win this game. I thought it was sloppy at times, both sides giving the ball away. But if you wanted somebody to win the game for you, Lewis Miley being asked a question tonight to play in a different position, but at the other end of the pitch, his leap, his flick on, a great ball into the area, has separated these two sides and moved Newcastle into the semi-final. That's the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think Newcastle kept going, kept pushing. I think actually Fulham might have a few regrets. Harry Wilson wasn't in the game enough. Maybe subs could have happened a little bit earlier, possibly. I think they'll look back on it and think at 1-1, maybe they should have gone for it a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, because when they came out in the second half, Adrian, I thought there was a chance for Fulham to take Newcastle to the sword. I really did. But as I said before, it was a little bit sloppy at times, giving the ball away, not getting into the areas like they did in the first half. As you mentioned there, Harry Wilson put some great balls in from this right-hand side in the first 45 minutes, but where was that in the second 45? It just wasn't quite there. Anthony Robinson crossing the ball over the top of the net. He didn't do that in the first half. We saw his beautiful cross for their goal. So I think that's where they fell a little bit short, and Raul Jimenez didn't really get into the game. Not a classic, but Newcastle have got the job done.
They have. Is there anything Fulham could have done about the winner?
Yeah, not give the corner away in the first place. I mean, look, they kept the pressure on Newcastle. They really did. A couple of shots, Miley. Wonderful save, I have to say, from Lecomte, just to tip it round the side of the post. But how's he given that time from around the penalty area to play that shot in the first place? Where's the Fulham defending? Get in front of somebody's face and just clear your lines. And I think there was a little bit of panic at the end. Raul Jimenez, 4 or 5 minutes before the full-time whistle, clearing it 70, 80 yards up the pitch. Keep the ball, play, and try and win the football match. They didn't do that.
Newcastle players just in front of us, they've done their lap of honour. Nick Baltimore smiling at the crowd. He got a great reception, bearing in mind what happened at the weekend, own goal to win the derby for Sunderland. They really gave him a great reception when he came on as a sub in the second half. The Newcastle fans here at St James Park, and they've all played their part. Tonali with a big run backwards to save the day for Newcastle when Josh King was threatening towards the end for Fulham. And in the end, Newcastle get it done. They've got something in this competition, haven't they, Mickey Gray?
I hope not. No, but look, I mean, everybody wrote them off, I suppose, when they got to around about the semi-finals of this competition last season, Adrian, and their two performances in that were absolutely first class, and in the final as well. So don't write Newcastle off, albeit, you know, you've got Chelsea now, Manchester City, Arsenal have to play and have a chance to get themselves into the semi-final. So they've still got a lot to do, but they've got it done tonight.
It's a teenager, it's a young lad from the academy who possibly, I mean, we'll never know what would have happened with a penalty shootout, but possibly saved Eddie Howe and maybe even saved his job here tonight. We were talking before the game, if they go out, what will that do to the crowd? How will they be? How will they react? And what will happen to Eddie Howe and his future at Newcastle? They've won and they're through.
Well, I mean, if you think about perfect remedies, a local lad's got them through to the semi-final. The centre-forwards came off the bench and got a huge reception, and they've won the game. That's all they're worried about now, these Newcastle supporters. Whoever they get in the semi-final, we're yet to see that. But I think overall, they got the job done.
Mickey, thanks very much. That semi-final draw is coming up in the sports bar. 03717 22 3344. Celtic fans, get your calls into Jason Cundy and Jermaine Pennant. In the Carabao Cup quarter-finals, Man City should have had Kusanov sent off. He stayed on. Brentford in the end easily beaten 2-0. Ryan Cherky with a very special goal. You know, he could be a contender for player of the season. He's that good. And here at St James Park, the cup holders Newcastle United made it to another semi-final. Academy product Lewis Miley had to play right back, but he popped up with the winner in injury time. Smiley Miley with the last laugh. Sports Bar is next on Talksport. 03717 22 3344.